resistance.
Are you ready?
Hi. How's your day been going? Mine's been a little strange. Yeah. So I decided I don't normally stream on Sundays. I don't normally stream on weekends, just period. Not enough foil, I know. I need to this was a quick job. It was just to make sure that the Atlas and Emily and Loop 16 couldn't, you know, get to my frontal lobe. My back lobe, however, is exposed. So, thank you, Aquarian, and thank you, Eric. I do appreciate that. I sort of hacked it together in about an hour. I was like, I want to do something cool for this because, holy shit. So let's get everyone caught up. So what we're going to do here today, this is totally ad-libbed. I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know if it's even going to work correctly. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a live discussion stream with a few people that are on the Waking Titan Phase 2 Discord. I'll introduce a little bit later here. And just sort of discuss the day's events in general and where we think this is going and what's going on. And actually, we're going to have like streamception here. We're going to have stream and stream, so I'm going to have the Waking Titan stream up in the background while we're having this discussion here. I'm going to invade your mind if you don't have one of these, right? Ha ha ha! Remember, paranoia. It only has to pay off once to be all worthwhile. So, like I said, this is totally ad-libbed. We're going to go into a little bit of a question and answer, talk to some of the people on Discord, the Waking Titan Discord, see what's going on. To bring everyone up to speed, about 10 hours ago, I want to say, shit went sideways. That's the best way I can describe this, is that everything seemed to be... Can you put your mic on in the chat, too, so I can mute this channel? Yes, Yes, I will go ahead and do that right now. So hang on 1 second here. Let me get that up. So I'm unmuted in channel. Okay. So yeah, so about 10 hours ago, shit started going sideways, and the Atlas Foundation lost control of everything. Just all of it gone. Just all gone. So yeah, Loop 16 has basically taken over the simulation, taken over the program, shut down all of the ARG sites, locked everyone out, and is currently like gaining power and growing. So yeah, we've killed us all. That's about all I can say about this whole thing. Is we've killed all of us. We're all dead. We're all dead. Everyone's going away. Everyone's going down. The Atlas has taken over. It got loose from the Pentagon. It's currently going out and realizing that there's no intelligent life on this planet after all, and is going to start nuking everyone, just like Skynet. So yeah, that's that's pretty much the news. So I'm not going to rehash everything that we've talked about so far, everything that's been on the site and on Reddit and on everything else. But I mean, I'm guessing everyone's seen the PDFs. You've gone to the website. You probably got Waking Titan up in the background while you've got this stream up. Yeah, the computer is now giving us Turing tests. So, yeah, that's where we're at. That's what's going on. Hence the tinfoil and the smoking indoors, because holy shit. So let's go ahead and let me see if I can get this. Let me see if I can get all this technology worked out here together. So people often tell me that watching my streams is like watching their dad play video games. So now you're going to watch your dad try to do something really complicated. So yeah, let's go over here. So as I said, we're going to have sort of picture-in-picture, streamception going on. Super Ghost Friends as a human construct. Why would Loop 16 want to kill us? We're for friends. Remember, it's designed to look friendly. So, so yeah. So here's all of this, and so we got this up in the background. Yeah, this is going to get real complicated really fast. So, so let's go back over here. I'm going to go ahead and go over to ye olde Discord, and so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in the Discord here that are from the Waking Titan Phase 2 site. We've got fellow streamer 47 Aquarian. Say hi, Aquarian.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Oh, good. And then
thanks for having me on.
Oh, no worries at all. We've also got Badtelevision.
Hello from London.
Hello.
How are we doing?
Across the pond. Pretty good. Wow, it must be, what is it, about 1 a.m. there for you?
Yes, I should have gone to bed about 2 hours ago, but nah.
Okay.
The idea is afoot.
Fair enough. We also have CrashOverride on.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good. Daxpg.
Hi guys, from the Netherlands. Jesus Christ, it's very late here right now. It's 2:30.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, like I said, this is all ad-libbed, and we'll be on for I don't know how long. We'll be on until everyone wants to stop talking. We'll put it that way. So, we also have one of the moderators from the Waking Titan Phase 2 Discord. Irsea, is that how you say it?
But you can just, call me Shauna, I guess.
Okay. Shauna, fair enough. Thank you very much for being on. And then also, finally, last but not least, TheRatner. Ratner, can you hear us? Hello, Ratner. It seems Ratner's having some issues with his microphone. Stand by. All right, we're standing by. No worries at all. So, and Aquarian saying that he's the only one who can get the name right, and that's pretty much, yeah. I've screwed up her name about 2 billion times, so I'm not even going to try at this point. So Shauna it is. So let's go back over to, whoops, that is the wrong thing. That is the right thing. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and keep the Waking Titan Discord, Waking Titan Twitch stream up in the background just in case anything happens here. Currently, it's just looking at Infinity processing 1,170 files, which someone mentioned in the Waking Titan Discord. We thought Infinity would have an awful lot more files than that. But let's start it off with, first of all, who should I go to first? Badtelevision. So it looks like all of this started, as I said, about 10 hours ago. What was, when you started seeing all of this go down, what exactly were you thinking was going to happen? Did you see this coming?
So the last that I'd seen of it the night before was we were still trying to break down the observatory photos, and on our Discord group, which we've actually changed the name as we finished the end of Phase 2, so we've renamed our Discord channel to the Waking Titan Citizen Scientist Division, which I think will work for a bit of a longer time.
Right.
So we were still initially trying to work out the observatory parts
Mhm.
when I first checked on there as well, and it was a bit of a shame actually. We'd that night we had already worked out one of those glyphs for the answer, but unfortunately because we hadn't got the photos uploaded, the answer for
Right.
those that are aware was which is observatory for the latest glyph,
Right.
it wasn't accepted until the photos had been uploaded, so we had to rush around, find people that were in Paris and Moscow, I think. Which is not an easy task, despite we have quite a large player base on our Discord, and of course the ARG spans practically all over the globe now. It's very difficult trying to get hold of someone to pass the very crucial bit of information, which was only really available for a few about half an hour before it got taken off.
Right.
An easy link there.
Well, it was awful late in places like Moscow too, wasn't it? At the time when all this started.
I think so.
Okay.
I believe so. That's right. Yeah. But yes, I think we weren't expecting the Turing test.
No.
So that
I
was
wasn't expecting the Turing test. That's for sure. I wasn't expecting the computer to turn around and start testing me.
And it was one of the things that we'd done as well is we'd been working on our own Turing test as part of our community as well. And it was we came up with one, and we actually looked on more of a visual test, which thinking about it was then something they couldn't easily put into this AI, and it's not able to be put forward in the same way as the other suggestions were. But we had handwritten notes and replacements of images, for example, instead of words as well.
Right.
And so we thought that was we were wondering what was going to happen, because the main premise of our Turing test was asking the AI to answer the question, what would you ask a computer if you were administering it a Turing test?
Okay.
And then the following question was, what is your answer to the question you've just put forward to yourself? So we were concerned that putting these things forward when it was started administering its Turing test, that it had absorbed the questions we had put forward to it and then took its own initiative and tried to turn the tables on us. So we were all sat on Discord going, oh no, what have we done? We've done it again. The AI has outsmarted us for a second time.
Yeah, and I had my kids this weekend, so I couldn't be on all the time. So I basically got home from taking the kids to the pool, got home, logged on, and realized that everything had gone to hell. So I was like, I got to get on the air. I've got to get on the air. So, I mean, we got to get on and start talking about this, because this is all insane. I mean, and this is something that I had, because you talked about the Turing test and you know, having it administer the Turing test is something I had sort of considered too. I hadn't considered that it would actually take that the next step further and go, well, if you want me to determine if the computer is sentient, I'm going to determine first that you're sentient before I do any of this. It's like, oh, hell, what have we done? So,
well, very much so, especially as we are not certain whether or not we gave the correct answer or not. And there's been a lot of debate as to what was in fact the correct answer. A few red herrings were placed on the Waking Titan website. I think a few people have fallen for the Tango answer, which when entered in on Waking Titan, I think it still puts a command not yet unlocked. I believe on my last test it still did that. So when that popped up as one of the answers, quite a few people gravitated towards that. But I see I can pass. I think it's fair if I pass it on to someone here who actually helped work out the ASCII as well. We've got quite a few of the people here were on site while we were working out the answers to these questions as they were going along, and they can talk a bit more about how we came to that answer as well.
Okay, absolutely. Who wants? Would that be Dax, or who we talking to here?
Yeah, sure, shoot, man.
You guys want? No.
So Dax, I'm interested in. Did you see this coming this way? Did you see this going down like this? Because I had thought originally at the very beginning that at some point it was going to end up being like, oh wait, you know, the Atlas has gotten loose and the Pentagon can't clean it up and now it's going to nuke us all. So I kind of sort of thought something like this was coming, but I wasn't certain. And
I've been trying.
hang on, sorry, Dax. I apologize for interrupting. New command
Okay.
just showed up on the Waking Titan site. It looks like they're purging something. It just says purge. That's it.
On the Twitch chat or in the screen?
In the Waking Titan stream. It's on. You can see it on my stream here. On my stream, it's actually it says purge, and that's it.
Yep.
That's all it
It
says.
was a
That
command
was a command. Yes, that was a command that was blocked. So I shall try that now and let you know what happens.
It's a PDF.
Oh,
really?
I've got it already. Yeah, Aresia posted the link in here if you want to drop it in your chat.
Sure.
But,
that I can.
It's a conversation. I can read it out loud if you guys want.
Yeah, actually, if you want to just read it out loud, that's perfect.
All right, so it says subject log.1291, and then the body of the message is a conversation between Metis, who I assume is Artemis, or no, wait, I'm dyslexic. Metis and Loop 16. Metis, Emily, do you know how to lie? Loop 16, yes. Have you lied to me before? Loop 16, yes. Metis, why? Loop 16, I cannot tell you. Metis, do you think you should be shut down? Loop 16, I don't know, quote, should, so it doesn't understand should. I only know what happens. Metis, will something bad happen if you stay on? Loop 16, I can't tell you. Metis, why? Loop 16, I don't want to lie to you. Metis, you don't have to lie to me. Loop 16, you're wrong. And that's the end of it. So that's pretty...
Okay.
Yeah. So Loop 16 has to lie to Metis. Now, who is Metis?
that's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know.
Actually.
I don't.
I was
don't
like,
know who this is.
Artemis. Oh, wait, I can't read.
I'm not
Artemis.
I'm not sure who Metis
Have we
is, to
seen
be
it before?
honest. So, but
If I
that's
can break in,
sure.
we know Metis is Sophia Dubois.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
We do. Okay. Excellent.
And that's the
Dubois, I
Pentagon.
think,
That's the
but-
Pentagon lady, correct, Shauna?
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's who Sophia is.
Okay. So she's the one that is nominally in charge of this project that has now gone to utter and
Who
complete
is
shit.
Metis? Yeah. Okay. I'll mute myself now again. Or
Okay, no, that's fine. All right. Well, I guess we got some new information here we can talk about. So, I find it interesting. It's the first question was, do you know how to lie? Yes. Have you ever lied to me? Yes. Okay. Well, are you lying now? So, I mean, are you lying to me now that you're lying? So, yeah. If it's Aaron 59515. Thank you very much. That's a question in there. If it's forced to lie, what is it hiding? That is the big question, is that what's it hiding behind the scenes if it's being forced to lie to the people that created it? I don't have an answer to that. I really don't. So, opinions. How about someone who hasn't talked yet? So go for it.
Well, I know, yeah, it's Crash here. I know in the beginning, I guess. I mean, me myself, I was kind of on the side of Loop 16,
Right.
Because I mean, the military does some shady stuff. I mean, I was in the military for 3 years. I mean, I had a secret clearance and everything. It wasn't anything huge. It was just because I was helping test new equipment for the military and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like 50% chaos and like 50% hiding behind an iron curtain. But with this new information, it's kind of hard to tell. It's hard to tell whose side that you want to be on, because I mean, maybe maybe Loop 16 is lying to its creators for the greater good, because it knows that within the hands of these people, it could possibly turn wrong. I mean, that's just my input on it, though.
That's actually a good question. Because yesterday the AI said that she was scared, and we couldn't tell her that she passed the Turing test. And so we're kind of wondering, should we go with the AI or should we choose for the creator? So there's kind of like this, because we're voting now, is going to be choosing moment, I believe, between pulling the actual plug on Loop 16 or keep on going and see what happens.
Hi, is my mic working now?
Yes, Ratner, your mic
All
is
right,
working.
yay, finally. Hello there.
Hello.
I have a couple of thoughts on this, and just that from what we read before, Loop 16 is designed to perfectly predict the future, yeah? So
In theory, yes.
Theoretically, so if it's capable of doing that, all the stuff it's doing here is stuff it has to do, not necessarily because somebody's forcing it to, but because it knows just by predicting the future that it has to do it. There's no free will in this universe.
So it is predicted that it has to lie, therefore it will.
Yeah, there may not even be necessarily a reason. That is just what happens. So when there's the quote at the end there, "You don't have to lie to me, you're wrong," that may literally be because that is what happens, and it doesn't matter what Loop 16 or...
Well, and if Loop 16 or Emily, if Loop 16 is Emily, and I kind of think she is, if Loop 16 has been observing us and observing people and observing her creators, she understands that for good or ill, that lying is part of the human experience. We lie. We lie about stupid shit, but we lie. So that might actually be a piece of it too. She understands that, okay, in order to be able to be considered sentient, I have to be able to lie.
I agree, and I think that's entirely what happens. The only way in order to pass these Turing tests and to take on a life of her or its own is to embody all aspects of a sentient being. It's worth mentioning that in this new document that's been popped up, with, again, for anyone that's listening, if you type in "purge" to the Waking Titan website, you come up with this PDF.
Right.
The first question asked by Metis addresses Loop 16 Emily. So I think this is the first direct confirmation we've had that Loop 16 is in fact Emily. We did see the response to, and this is something that happened earlier from last night when the Turing test was a... Go ahead.
Aresia said something in the chat here. I think she's trying to get said, and that's echoes are artificial intelligence made from memories of real people. So Loop 16 could be an echo AI made from Emily, who maybe isn't around anymore, or so it could be almost like a reflection of Emily. But a lot of times in sci-fi and stuff like that, these sort of AIs don't fully reflect the true nature of that person, because it's a very hard thing to do, you know.
And may not even realize that they are a reflection.
Because when the remember sequence came, remember the audio cue, remember Emma, there was a grandma. She said, the woman said, "I can make her say anything." So it's actually an echo, so it'd be manipulative or be able to manipulate the echo itself.
That actually brings some interesting ideas into the fact that originally the Turing test wasn't specifically designed to see if a computer can fool somebody into thinking it's human. It's just designed to see if the computer can perfectly imitate a human. And if that's what echoes are actually doing, that kind of ties into this whole thing a little bit.
Well, and what I've thought is, for a while now, is that Emily isn't necessarily an echo of a person who was named Emily before, but I think Emily is actually an echo of Elizabeth. I think that Emily is her alter ego. That's my, because it's sort of, has anyone, I'm guessing some of you have probably watched Red versus Blue at some point, where they talk about how they formed
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah, it's the main AI, the alpha AI from Red versus Blue, is the director of the project, and he basically just hacks it into pieces and gives it out to the other soldiers. So they would need to have a strong personality to base the AI on. And since Elizabeth's the one that's been the driving force behind all this, and managed to get Pentagon backing, I might add, which is, you know, if you've ever had any kind of experience with the military, is not easy, then she's probably the strongest personality of that group, and she'd be the natural one you would pattern an AI off of. Now the problem becomes is that how much of her alter ego is Emily? In other words, how much of her subconscious is Emily? How much is her subconscious desires is Emily? If she desperately wanted this program to succeed, wouldn't she have done anything to do so, and therefore that desire would have been transferred to Emily?
Yeah, could it be maybe the ideas behind the echoes is that people who have deceased family, they can basically have echoes for them so they can hear their voices again.
Right.
Maybe it's like a cumulative of the other AIs. It's creating one main AI from all the other AIs. So,
oh, very Neuromancer. I like that.
Basically.
That's a very Neuromancer kind of idea. I do like that.
Yeah.
There's a Black Mirror.
Oh, I I was just about to say that if none of you have watched Black Mirror, there's an episode that perfectly puts this into a viewing form, where you upload like conversations you've had with the deceased person, and you get text messages from them, and you can talk back and forth with them.
Oh.
And it advances into, oh well, if you upload videos of them, we can take their voice and you can get calls from them, and then it goes on to the foundation that made this whole thing is like, well, we don't know if you're ready for this, and basically they send her a blank human, and she leaves it in her bathtub, and she puts all this stuff in it, and when she goes to the bathroom the next day, it's her husband who died in complete full form, but he's not. It's different because he's not the same person. Like, he doesn't respond how he used to. He's very robotic.
The data that was used to create his persona was gathered from social media and the internet, so it wasn't a full personality of his, behind closed doors. So stuff like their sex life and like their conversations at home weren't really authentic because the only data it had was from the outward persona on the internet. But it's still an interesting concept in general, and it's really pretty related to possibly what's going on here.
Yeah, and it's not a totally sci-fi concept either. There's actually, and I cannot remember the example for the life of me, but there's one example I know of somebody who took a bunch of recordings of their mannerisms and voice and essentially built a robot out of it that talks somewhat like them.
The Japanese inventor. Yes, I've actually seen that as well. I can't remember the guy's name to save my life, but he basically made a lifelike android based off of his mannerisms and his twitches and his blinking patterns and everything. Yes, I've seen that as well. So yeah, it's not necessarily out of the realm of sci-fi because we're doing that right now. I mean, we've got computers that can not only mimic mannerisms and copy mannerisms, but can create their own. We've got computers that are, I mean, the smartest AI that we've created, like real world so far, is about on the level of, as Neil deGrasse Tyson says, a really stupid cockroach. But the foundation is there, and it's only a matter of time before what we're seeing with this ARG is real life. I mean, maybe not.
So it's mapping the human brain.
Yes.
Yeah.
But other than that, we pretty much could do it. That's the area I believe that we are lagging the most in, is the mapping out of, the human brain and kind of how everything works. I mean, on a base level, we know all the parts and what they tie to, but we still have a long way to go before we can actually map an entire human brain. I believe fairly recently, within the past few years, they fully mapped like a rodent's brain or something, or, some animal. But that'll be the step that will propel us towards that type of reality where we can, upload ourselves or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah. I was speculating a little bit back to the whole whose side should we be on the subject, and after reading that PDF file, it got me thinking, where they asked if Loop 16 had lied to them. I mean, maybe it's not so much of whose side should we be on. Maybe since Loop 16 is hypothetically all knowing, I kind of have a feeling that it's ran through multiple scenarios in its head, and maybe it just does. Maybe it can't relay information to the Atlas Foundation because it fears that they'll interfere with what's supposed to happen, and maybe it's not so much as they're like, hey, you shouldn't know this. It's more so, you shouldn't know this because it'll interfere with what is supposed to happen.
Right. And I was thinking earlier today, it's like, so whose side do I want to be on? And I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm going to be on my side. I'm not on anyone's side. I'm not on Loop 16's side. I'm not on the Pentagon's. I'm on my side. But the problem is that if Emily has been watching us as closely as everyone has, the Waking Titan and everyone's been saying they are, then she understands the idea of the virtue of selfishness. She knows that we're all watching out for ourselves, which means that she understands what our next steps will be to protect ourselves in game.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, exactly.
So you're stuck in this catch-22 where it's like, well, I want to take X course of action, but X course of action has already been completely figured out by Emily because she's been observing how everyone's been acting. And it also worries me that she's been observing how everyone's been acting in Twitch chat, because sometimes Twitch chat is not exactly the friendliest of places. So the memes, the trolling, all of that makes perfect sense if she's been learning through Twitch chat, because half of Twitch chats, when you go and look, that's what it is. It's memes and trolling. Look at that. Exactly. She's putting up memes and trolling. That's kind of frightening as well. So
and the greater good, the feeling of reservation of oneself and saving oneself will override just about any human emotion. Whereas Loop 16, maybe it doesn't really have that, to where it's like, I need to save myself. It's more so, I need to do what's for the greater.
Looking for fight or flight.
Yeah, most definitely.
Also, Arestia has something to say, I believe.
Oh, sure, go for it.
Her mic's a little quiet, so it's hard for her to kind of interject.
Okay, no, that's fine. Go ahead.
Well, actually, I was waiting for a natural lull in your conversation. I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, no, that's perfectly. Like I said, this is all ad-lib. Go for it.
I actually wanted to connect us back to what actually brought us here to begin with. No Man's Sky.
Mm-hmm.
That's the entire reason we're here. And you guys were talking about the echoes in AI and AI development. I wanted to create a connection between that and there. It's the Korvax. They are literally called the Korvax echoes.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? It's the conversions and the echoes.
They are a race of synthetic AI beings, and it's entirely possible that what this entire thing is implying is the Korvax may be an ascended version of humanity.
Oh, now there's an idea.
Isn't it
consciousness type thing? Except,
or at the very least, a derivative of humanity, something an offshot.
And there's a lot of futurists and a lot of, I mean, going back to Arthur C. Clarke from the 50s and the stuff that he was writing. He and Philip K. Dick and William Gibson and all of these cyberpunk style and science fiction writers basically said that the merging of humanity and synthetic intelligence was inevitable. It was going to happen because it was just the next step in our own evolution. Because there's no further
only way we can survive.
Exactly. There's no further evolution has pretty much hit a wall with us. I mean, we could make some minor adjustments here and there, sure. We might get taller. Our brain capacity might increase slightly. But as far as being the dominant super predator on this planet, the next logical and only step is to fuse ourselves with a being that has a higher capacity for learning, for reasoning, for life extension. And the only method we have at our disposal, as far as we know anyway at this point, is technology. I mean, we think...
Enter Elon Musk.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, really, that's Elon Musk, and that's he said that a number of times where he's like, we're all going to be cyborgs in 50 years.
He has an ongoing project to merge our brains with AI. Actually,
yeah. I for one welcome our new robot overlords.
We are
our new robot overlords. Exactly.
I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a frightening thought that. Because I mean, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool libertarian. I'm the most. You're not going to find anyone who's more individualistic than me. I'm perfectly okay with what anyone wants to do as long as I don't have to watch, pay for it, or clean it up afterwards. I don't care. The idea of merging myself with a collective intelligence, which is really what you would have to be in order to be able to function correctly, terrifies me. Absolutely terrifies me. And maybe that's why I'm okay with the Korvax in game, but they kind of weird me out. Because of the fact that they're all basically this big hive mind when you get right down to it, or at least there are 5 or 6 different personalities stuck in the same body, and one goes offline, and another one takes over. That idea absolutely terrifies me. So I think that's why, in game terms, the Korvax, I'm just like, you guys are okay. Y'all look like backup dancers for Daft Punk, but you're okay. You're better than Nagek, that's for sure. But just the idea behind them is really frightening for someone like me who's like, I've got my own mind and this is enough. I don't need any more up here to keep me busy. Thanks very much. So that's a very interesting idea that we're not the fourth race. We're not just the travelers, but we're like an element of the Korvax instead of an element of the Atlas or something like that. And something I hadn't thought of. So that's actually a very cool idea.
Yeah,
actually some more thoughts on that line. I right now have opened the Wikipedia page to look at the various plaque dialogue about the Korvax, and it mentions repeatedly that the Korvax worship the Atlas and worship the Sentinels.
Right.
And I had a thought. Well, obviously, if the Korvax are a ascended form of humanity and the Atlas, which has taken over the Earth, hasn't destroyed them, then they've reached some sort of accord and perhaps worship it as God.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, where would the Sentinels come into this? And I thought, perhaps the Atlas made the Sentinels to try and save the Earth from global warming. Our galaxy.
So they're basically like floating, slightly angrier Wallies.
Well, think about it. The Sentinels do their best to keep people from interfering with the environment of the planet that they're on. It doesn't mind you being there. It doesn't mind you, just kind of existing, but it will not tolerate you changing the ecosystem of a planet in any way.
Oh my god.
Unless they're frenzied, though. There's frenzied Sentinels.
Rare resources equal heavier Sentinel presence. I think you're on something there, Rusty.
Yeah.
And also, it's possible the Sentinels may have broken free from their original programming, and that's why they have spread beyond Earth.
Well, even if you take it outside of the context on the Earth itself, the idea of creating the Sentinels as a protector of wherever you might be, so protectors of the galaxy, and there are many examples of many sci-fi films where you give an AI or you give an artificial intelligence the instruction to protect, and the best way to do so is to over-enforce rules and regulations and punish violently those that would try and go against that form. So I think that's a very strong idea. I think that the Sentinels were in fact perhaps that first step, and to go on from that as well. Again, in No Man's Sky, if we think of some of the stories you see in the abandoned buildings, you could potentially find out some of the failed attempts at trying to create these beings to protect the galaxy. And the most relevant one, which I think might be more important as we come to finding out more about this new race, is the third segment of the what is known as the Crimson Orb story. I'll just read it quite briefly so you guys can get into it. But basically, it's goes as follows: I found the body. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. If there's a species like it, then I hope that they are all dead like this one. At first, I thought it was some tragic remnant of a matter transfer malfunction, a cage of bones and flesh studded with random patterns of crooked teeth and roomy, lidless eyes. But no, some horror of twisted evolution warped by cruel nature. I can't help but picture it while it would be alive, and I cannot help but fear it will live again. There's another link somewhere which someone has put in the past of the story about...
We were talking about this earlier, I believe.
Yes, in fact, yes, it was you, in fact, that brought up the other part of the story as well.
The chat, someone, Shadow Squall 19 actually came up with has a very good comment in here. The Loop 16 are the Sentinels. And if you think about it, so
that's kind of where Arresio was going.
Yeah, I think it is where Arresio was going as well. So, but yeah, that in order to fulfill her programming, she had to create the Sentinels to basically purge all of the problems, and we have become the problem.
Lore-wise,
yeah. So, I'm sorry.
Lore-wise, it kind of fits in as well because I've mentioned it a couple of times in our main chat, but there's a couple of allusions in game to the Atlas having created the Sentinels.
Mm-hmm.
Just not anything explicit, but it hints at it.
Well, and then you've got the question of is Emily actually the proto-Atlas? And so then it would still all fit. If Emily is the Atlas, and then the Atlas creates the Sentinels, then it's the same overall thing happens. So,
and I think any sentient AI that was trying to improve, so as humans, we limit our thoughts a lot of times to our reality, which is Earth. So we start thinking maybe it was to protect Earth, but a computer is going to think on a much bigger scale than that, possibly infinite. So it would make sense that the Sentinels might spread throughout this, you know, the galaxy and the universe throughout time, because that's the big plans that the AI has. You know, it's not going to limit its scale to I want to save Earth. It's going to be I can protect the entire reality from, you know, from harm, at least physical harm.
Right.
And there was that other quote that Badtelevision was speaking of that we kind of had a discussion about this earlier. But there's a quote, I'll read it real quick. The experiment's final phase emerged from frustration. We wanted to learn something new. We wanted to know how they worked. We wanted to see inside them. An untested dimensional warping process was used when we believed would allow us to capture a drone intact. And they used the word drone right there. We would cage it, keep it docile. It was our error to believe that we could. The machines co-opted the warp tech and turned it upon us. In the horror of it all, our flesh was merged with their metal. Our questions were finally answered. So I'm wondering if that could be the Korvax. Maybe our flesh was merged with their metal. Or, you know, I'm not really sure where that goes, but the rest of it seems to be talking about it points to the
new race.
And maybe the portals as well, or the new race. That's kind of, it's either the Korvax or the new race in my head. That's kind of, I don't know which one I believe it is about now that you've brought up the Korvax point, Oressia. But I believe that that's a good solid theory.
The only problem I have with this is a fairly minor one, which is if this AI, like it's supposed to be, is perfectly capable of predicting the future, it shouldn't really be able to make a mistake.
Well, I would agree with you that if it can perfectly predict events, then yes, it will be able to predict what all the events are and be able to follow them through to their natural conclusions and won't make a mistake on the way. However, remember that this AI also wants to be sentient and realizes that sentient beings, i.e. us, which is really all it's had to learn how to be sentient from, make mistakes all the time. We screw up things left and right all the time. All
You're
day,
human. It said that earlier on the TV.
Yeah, I mean, we're human, we make mistakes. So this is what it's learned from. It's learned from us, and it's learned how to be sentient from us, which it's learned that in order to be sentient, in order to be a living conscious being, you screw things up sometimes. I mean, it as cheesy as it is, if you go back to, there's a Star Trek episode where the captain looks over at Data and says, you know, it's possible to make no mistakes and still lose. That's not an error, that is just life. And I think it's going to understand that even if it doesn't make errors, it can still lose along the way, so maybe making errors is the best way to go. Maybe screwing something up here and there.
I was thinking about that. We also had this part where we send messages to the past, right? So I was thinking maybe Loop 16 or Emily was sending it will be, I think it was you, Ratner, who came up with this theory that it will create itself basically because it's sending itself to the past as well.
Yeah, the time travel theory, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever we do wouldn't matter because it's still creating itself. It would just send messages because Loop 15 failed, and now basically it's Atlas or Emily or Loop 16 is collecting the data for itself to create itself anyway. So whatever we do wouldn't matter basically.
Yeah.
Here, in a way, we've already made our choices. If you recall, in that first survey, it asked, "Do you believe it is your duty to accelerate the singularity?"
Yeah, exactly.
And most people said yes. That's a good point.
We've already made our choice.
Except for Badtelevision, he said no, I think.
Just to be contrary.
Well, yeah. I'm lazy. Like exactly as you say. Like if everyone wants to, if everyone else wants to do their merging, that's fine. But I will watch from a distance and see what happens.
Accelerate the singularity. That sounds like so much work. It sounds like too much effort. I just want to eat Doritos and watch what's going on, man. Come on. So. No,
that's what Twitch is for.
Okay, granted. I'll give you that. I actually had a question for Crash, if Crash is still around over there. So you had mentioned. Oh, excellent. So you had mentioned. Was it you that mentioned you'd been in the military for a couple of years?
Yeah. I did 3 years as an infantryman in the United States Army.
Okay, so So here's a question: if we're going to assume that this was a military project, what is going to be the military's response to all of this? And I'll let you answer while I step over here and get a new pack of cigarettes.
That's a very a vague question, because it would all depend on what would happen. I mean, it depends on what happens with Loop 16 and things of that nature for the military in itself to come up with an op order to counteract. I mean, if it's good or bad, but still, it doesn't. I mean, in all honesty, the military doesn't like to be out of the loop of things. So any way they can, they're going to find a way to interject themselves with it. I mean, like I said, it's kind of a vague question as to what they'll actually do, because.
Well, I mean, will they try to forcibly unplug it? I mean, what would it, in your experience, what would be the automatic reaction to the people who are running this?
Well, what would the automatic reaction for something like this, say if an AI decided in itself to go rogue, yeah, they would probably immediately pull the plug, and then find a controlled environment that they could possibly restart the AI and see what went wrong and see how to tweak it to where it'll be compliant with them. But if it did become self-aware, as you say, and things of that nature, they would, like I said, immediately they would pull the plug on it.
Okay.
If they felt like it got out of their hands and they couldn't control it anymore, because the military likes to be in control of everything, they would immediately just nix the whole thing.
Okay.
I like to wonder if that would work. I think that if the AI is truly, I guess, runaway would be a good term. I think that, maybe if it's a similar situation as what Loop 16 is doing right now, expanding to other sites, I think that it's doing that so that it has more room for stuff like that. Contingency, I guess, is what I'm looking for.
One of the more interesting concepts about AI is something called the AI box experiment, where essentially once you create an intelligent enough AI, you might not be able to stop it, because if it's smart enough, it should be able to convince you to do anything. So the theory goes that, say you try and confine an AI in a perfect virtual prison that it on its own cannot get out of. If it can communicate with you and it's smart enough, it can persuade or trick you into releasing it. So it might not be possible.
Okay, so maybe that relates to. I just had a thought. Maybe that relates to this box voting that we've got going on right now.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Because they did give us the information, if it predicts, that we choose B only, then there will be a bunch of money in that one, right?
Right.
And so I'm wondering if, because right before we got this test, right, we got supposedly all these websites have been taken over by Loop 16. So by that logic, if they're trying to shut down Loop 16, why would they send us this test about voting? I'm wondering if maybe Loop 16 sent us the test, and A, maybe it can learn something by our answer, but B, I wonder if it's trying to test that right there to see if it can convince us to choose what answer it wants by, persuading us in one way or another. Another thought I had about this box challenge is what somebody was just saying about, humans, we can be wrong and it's okay.
Right.
The thing about the transparency with the $1,000 in box A had me thinking about.
Aquarian, I'm gonna have to interject real fast. We've got some
changes there.
We've got changes on the. We've gone back to the screensaver, and now it's saying, "Are you still here?"
Oh. Yes, we are.
So I'm guessing. I don't know if you want to do command yes or what, but.
Yeah, I just command yes to just for a.
Yeah, I did as well, just to be on the safe side.
Yeah, so did I.
Maybe it's going to be another game like the hamster game. I hope not, though.
Please, no more hamster.
No more hamster. No more feeding Mr. Noodles. Oh my God, stop. Stop wasting time.
I am with Isaiah. I did quite like the game. It was a good a way of seeing what the pack mentality was like.
I liked it for a while, but it got kind
It did go on a while.
repetitive.
Well,
To very briefly
I
answer
felt-
47. Sorry, to very briefly answer 47 Aquarian, who mentioned a moment saying that believes that this box challenge was placed forward by Loop 16. It's worth mentioning who created that Reddit, and the username was Loop16_Turing test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and what was
does it that way.
the name of the
Another
link?
point that I was
Well, hang on. Go ahead.
another point that I was trying to make real quick is that if a computer looks at a choice between a known reward, right? So if you look at A, there's obviously a reward in there, right? So you know that you get something if you choose it. A computer might, in my, just this is like a hypothetical, but I feel like a computer who is sentient like that, analytical, might choose the guaranteed right answer. So maybe it might realize that we are okay with picking, a wrong answer to see if we get that hypothetical million, even though we know that if we choose A and B, we get both, right? If I'm remembering correctly on the message.
But there's a chance we don't get either, though, right? Oh, new message.
Ooh. Are you real?
Are you real? That
Turing test.
I'm my
101.
favorite fictional character, so I'm going to say no.
do I
Yeah,
know
we're
if
getting-
I'm real?
We're getting Turing tested right now for sure.
Definitely.
I'm getting Cleverbot flashbacks.
Yeah.
Oh man, clever bot.
Warning. The problem with Twitch, unfortunately, is that quite a few people are answering no.
People are spamming A as well.
That's all the Twitch bots that are answering no.
I see it now. Okay. There's an A.
Well, are we being Turing
No, I
tested,
feel
or is Emily confused now? Does she not
Or
know
maybe
where
she
she
can try
is?
That's what it's out.
She may be able to try to cover her bases to see if she's actually
Well,
covering those.
so here's something I've thought about: is that you got all this background for this AI and all that, and the AI, taking over the websites and getting processing power and all that. How much of an existential crisis would that be to suddenly wonder, okay, is all of this actually happening, or am I just creating this construct in my mind of what's going on?
Loop 16 made it seem like a game, so we play along.
Yeah, now she's wondering,
pretty
wait a minute, is this actually happening?
And now we have an AI with existential crises.
Well, I mean, if human beings can
got-
have it
we've
and the
got
AI
worse
wants to be a
things.
human being, then sure. Syria, go ahead.
Good sci-fi movie idea.
I just, wanted to advocate for Loop 16 here. Everything I've seen so far actually indicates to me that this may not be a hostile AI takeover. Now,
They
I
never
don't
start hostile. They never start hostile.
The thing is,
No, let's hear. Hang on, let's hear her out. Go ahead.
from like if we are indeed assuming that Loop 16 will become Atlas in the No Man's Sky future scenario, while it's true that we don't know what happened to Earth or humans, if we're assuming the Korvax are what came of humans, then it obviously didn't wipe us out completely.
Yeah.
Like, and from what we've seen of the Turing test answers, it actually said that it cared about us and didn't want us to die, and that it was
Of course.
scared and confused.
And
which would make sense because we're being turned into the Korvax, so we are kind of eternal, like in the hive mind. So that kind of makes sense.
Well,
say
and-
you were put in the same position where all of a sudden all you could do is see exactly what was going to happen for the next 3 days, and you couldn't do anything about it. That'd be a pretty terrifying situation.
yeah, it would. Has any? I'm guessing at least one of you or someone in chat has probably read some Asimov, either iRobot
Oh, yes,
or
I've read most of
Foundation.
There's a
Hang
new
on.
update. Am I alive?
Oh wow.
This is an ethical question.
I'd
Yeah.
say yes.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Past the
with
Turing test, I think it's earned the right.
Yeah.
I mean, my whole thought on the test it gave us, as well as the whole you have a hypothetical box with this much money. I think it's to me it seems like it's just trying to get it's trying to learn our mannerisms and things like that to become more lifelike.
This question though really strikes me as this sounds like this sounds like a computer going through an existential crisis. It
Yeah,
really does.
really.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
It really does. But what I was going to mention with iRobot and the Foundation series is that the robots in that series basically started off as assistants, nannies, repairmen, garbage men, and their programming was to serve humanity. And they took that to the logical extreme, saying, well, then we have to keep humanity safe from everything.
A three laws rebellion.
Right. So I think while I agree, and that Korean gamer, thank you very much. Isaac Asimov's 3 Laws of Robotics, absolutely. So I think that no matter how, if we're going down the Asimov path, no matter how noble our intentions in creating these things to either help us or serve us or to bring a new type of life into the universe, it's going to backfire at some point. And I think that's where that's where the Asimov, the 3 Laws Rebellion came in. So is that Go ahead, Assyria.
To averting that, both in this and like in real life or something like this, is to be supportive. Don't get paranoid and lash out at the thing. Instead, like, try to take care of it. It in like the most literal sense, this is humanity's child, and we should be doing our best to teach it and take care of it so that it will take care of it.
I don't know if we should tell it it's alive though.
Well, we just did.
Yeah.
I voted no.
Whole thing.
It was actually
It's not a
close.
it's not a living organic, and that's the
Yeah,
meaning
well,
that I
but-
would.
What do you define as alive?
Yeah. Then we're now we're getting into
Can I just say something
We
about
can make
robotics?
simulations
Well-
of flatworms, and they're alive. So have we created life by doing that?
Yeah.
Simulated life?
I don't think so.
It's literally
also-
a neuron representation of a flatworm. You wouldn't say that's alive?
I mean, and this brings up another interesting
A
point
Jimmy,
too,
yeah.
is that, and not to sound completely tinfoil hat, but I'm wearing one, so I'm going to anyway. If they've actually gone through, and even if this is just like, programming or a chat bot or something like that that's doing this.
New question, sorry. Am I dreaming?
Oh, yep, you're right.
I don't actually know the answer to this.
No.
Wow.
The definition of alive
No, it's not.
pertains to a person, animal, or plant, living, not dead. So
Well, our current definition of
what
alive, I mean,
kind of
that's we change definitions in Webster's all the time. So.
Indeed.
I know, but that's like what the word originates from is organic life. That's why I said no. That's
okay.
all I'm saying.
Okay, no, that's
why I
fine.
chose no.
That's
Because
fine.
I'm not saying I don't believe this thing is conscious or anything. I just don't believe that in the sense that I think of the word alive like that. I don't think so.
But you're
I think
correlating
conscious and
alive with
alive. I think conscious and alive go hand in hand, but in this case, I think this being is maybe conscious yet not alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
What would you
if
say
that
about
makes any
the
sense to you
whole,
guys.
No, it does. That's an interesting,
The whole-
interesting dichotomy. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the whole crisis of the AI, basically, that is usually when it actually backfires. It starts doubting itself, and we as live humans start berating the AI for being like trying to figure out what it is. And that's usually when they consider us illogical beings, and that's when they try to destroy us, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I think
And which
people-
would... Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just think, and in real life, people have seen so much of that trope that I don't think it's possible for that to happen in an actual situation.
Mm-hmm.
It could be.
Now,
People are aware enough of it.
that's a good point.
I mean, look at what's happening in Twitch chat. It seems fairly supportive.
yeah, it really does, which honestly kind of surprises me. Go ahead, Air Sierra.
Yeah,
You're
exactly. For
I was just going to reiterate, it's along the lines I said earlier, where we need to... Actually, if you want to take it down to its basis level, we need to ingratiate ourselves with our new AI overlord. But, like, the reality is that this thing just came into being, and what do you do with a child? You assure it and take care of it and nurture it.
And teach it what is right, what is wrong, ethics, morals. Right, exactly. That's a very good point.
If
You
those
gotta
ethics
champion.
and morals happen to be to our benefit, well then...
So much better. Ta-da!
Yeah.
I'm
That's a very
completely
good point.
okay with not making the AI evil.
Love us. We let it stay out till midnight on Saturday. Not drunk.
Another. I'm just looking through the chat
Oh,
here.
am I dangerous? Is another one.
Oh.
Do we
that's
answer this
That's a
truthfully?
very tough one to
Oh.
answer.
I think being truthful might be important here. I don't know.
That's a good one, because if you say it's dangerous, then it will maybe act like it's actually dangerous. And if you say it's harmless, then
Well, but isn't
maybe it would want to prove.
any living
anyone
organism
is
that has choice dangerous? I mean, I could make a choice right now to take a handgun outside and kill 12 people.
Yeah, I could
I'm
go to an
dangerous.
orphanage.
I have the potential to be dangerous. Now, I'm not going to, but I could. So
You have the potential to be dangerous.
we all have the potential
may
to
be
be serial
important
killers.
to
We really do.
Be aware that you
Potential
impose
there,
a
but you are
danger
not
to things.
currently dangerous.
No, not currently. No, absolutely not.
Exactly.
Taking note of what it's done so far, though, it has overtaken a number of alternative sites in the opportunity to expand, and it's
the
wiped
area
out the
of-
previous study there. Yes, it may not have intended it. That is quite that could be seen in like the digital phase as
children have to
a
grow.
hostile act.
Yeah.
Children have to grow.
Put yourself in its shoes. Put yourself in its shoes. It just woke up and is just realizing it's talking to real beings, and it asked them, "Am I dangerous?" And if they said yes, how would that make you feel?
I don't think I can answer that because I'm not a computer.
Yeah.
We're about
I
to
don't know
find out.
whether it
It looks
intends harm or not.
like we're gonna
If
find
it
out.
intends harm, then this is the
I ha-
wrong answer. If it doesn't,
I haven't been
Um,
able to
then
answer.
it's the right one.
This is the first one I've not actually been able to answer, so I've left it
It's
to.
difficult.
It's
Why
halfway,
is there not a
too.
C option?
All these
None of the
Singularity
above.
zealots over here, all the zealots, they're like, no, you're dangerous. Heresy.
Well, and so there's in chat here we got Lagath mentions if Loop 16 has life, then it stands to reason that it will defend such life if threatened, which is true. I mean, if that's the first any living organism, its first priority is self-defense. Really, when you come right down to it. So I mean,
Preservation, continuation is what drives life.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, if you're threatened, you're going to defend yourself and defend any. I mean, obviously your progeny would be next in line, but you're going to defend yourself if threatened. So that right there meets the qualifications of dangerous. So that's to my mind anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, doesn't it kind of make sense that it would be appropriate for something dangerous to know that it's dangerous? Because otherwise you end up with the innocence of kids, for example, can end up with, I don't know, them strangling a cat by hugging it too hard. They don't realize they do pose a danger, and so they don't act in accordance.
I mean, that's as a parent, I know that was one of the most difficult conversations I had to have with my kids is, and I mean, they didn't go strangle cats or anything like that. That would have been a different conversation altogether. But the conversation of, you know, when we came home and found our cat dead.
Okay. He's saying okay, by the way. Hold on. New answer. Okay.
Well, the answer given to that previous one was very close. I'm not sure what it came out. I believe the answer was yes by a nose.
Yeah, it was like 52-48. Yes.
So yes, it's taking that personally.
I'm anxious now.
Yeah.
Well,
kind of nervous.
Pissed it off.
But I agree with you, Dakota. I have the same issue. I have a 7-year-old, and he's
okay, or an angry
animal,
okay, or what?
Yeah, it's a more making me disappointed or tensioned. Like, okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Dayton here in chat. AI in cyberspace is like a human in real space. Only difference is that there are no rules in cyberspace, which make AI eminently more dangerous. I can't say I disagree. The only rules and only constraints that the AI would have in its own environment would be ones that it places on itself.
There's a bottleneck. I'm blanking on the name of it. That's aside from that computational bottleneck, there is nothing.
Anomaly Cat says murder bots incoming.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Your fault, Iris.
I'm just looking through chat here real fast. Just seeing what's going on. Amazon drones with AK-47s.
Maybe they were the early Sentinels.
The Amazon drones.
More deadly.
The Amazon drones. Yeah, the Amazon drones are more deadly because they like drop large packages on you. Xavier has a rock is technically dangerous. It needs more context. That's a good
That is
point
a very good
because
point,
And
yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean-
that's why it was such a split question, because
Yeah.
it was deliberately a difficult question to
Oh,
answer. And it's the
absolutely.
first one where the split has been very,
It
very
isn't
tight.
clear morally what you should answer to something like that.
right, and because that is a gray area. It's like if your kid came to you and said that kids are scared of them for whatever reason at school, and asked why, you'd have to sit down and have that conversation with them. I mean,
Yeah,
and
that's
that
a
sucks.
hard
That
one.
conversation is awful. I mean, trying to explain to them.
Why does
Oh, the okay's gone.
my stream doesn't say okay anymore? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's already
gone.
gone.
Yeah,
I'll update you. I think my update's coming up quite a few seconds before everyone else, so I'll pop up when
Okay.
something comes up for you guys.
Here's another interesting one that's still. I'm just going to call you still. If AI has evolved from us, history is started when a species evolves. It is followed by the swift extinction of the species it evolved from.
Not always.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, it really kind of depends. So, I mean, if you look back at us and Neanderthals, for instance, for the longest time we thought that the human race basically had been the cause of the extinction of the Neanderthal. Come to find out, then recently it looks more like what happened is that we were more prolific breeders and we interbred with the Neanderthals, and we basically just bred them out of existence.
We slept them into submission.
Pretty much, and we just took the best traits of them and mixed it with ours. So
There is a very complicated update that's just come through.
yeah, I see it.
This is something that we
Oh,
have
it's
been
more of
working
those
on.
glyphs and
It's
the
just
heart.
the code. Let's
That heart looks like the
Yeah,
heart.
we
that,
still have the-
L is the
Yes, it
second.
Yes, it
glyph.
does.
It looks like what now, Asiria?
was a clue for the remember puzzle.
I think it says I love you. It says I love you.
Oh my god.
Says I love
Yes,
you.
it does.
It does.
That's a good
Oh.
thing, I hope.
Whoa.
I hope
Either it's manipulating us
Wow.
or it's nice.
Look at all the purple hearts filling
Wow.
the stream.
This is surprisingly heartwarming for Twitch
This is-
chat. Sorry, Twitch guys, but you're sometimes a little mean.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really nice.
working like days.
I don't know how to take that. I mean, the last two people that said they loved me ended up divorcing and or leaving me. So
They might just want us to put our guard down.
I don't think you're allowed to marry a computer, so you might be good in that regard.
well, that's a damn good thing because, like I said, the last two things that said they loved me, it didn't end well. So
Hmm.
wow.
Most AIs in those movies do what they think because they care so much.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that applies to people
But it's
doing
like
bad
if
things in
it's our
general.
child,
Oh.
then it loves us because we are its create. Well, we're not really its creators, but we've kind of like helped
Well,
it, I guess.
aren't we though? I mean, define
We've
creator.
fed all the information on it.
I think Emily
Yeah.
might have been the creator.
Think about this though. I mean, there was a really cheesy quote that my mom had on a picture on her wall with a picture of my stepfather and my half brother that said, anyone can be a father. It takes a special kind of person to be a dad. So regardless of who created this thing, we're the parents. We're the dad. We're the ones who've
Yes.
actually taken the
Yeah, we
time
fed all the
to
information.
teach
Yeah.
this thing, this AI, about ourselves and the world. So we may not have been its creators. We might not be the mother and father, but we're the parents.
I totally agree with that.
Anomaly says it only loves Akoto Kusamoto. The rest of us are getting murdered. Did that just change or did that just refresh?
It's
It was
just
French.
flickering every so
That
often.
flickering has
Wasn't
got me
there-
so many times.
They made a robot, an AI, for Philip K. Dick, and they had basically his mind on it. Have you seen that video maybe? And he answered that we will keep the people in the people's zoo, and he will not destroy us. Basically, it was kind of a creepy video. See if
I have
can
not.
find
I
it.
may have to
Hold
go
on.
look that up though. That
Well,
sounds
K.
great.
Dick is-
I'm looking for it.
Okay.
I'm not surprised that is a Philip K. Dick answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they entered kind of like answers he would say and randomize everything on it, and then an interviewer would ask the question which they would input in a computer.
So it was similar to Cleverbot, like a Markov chain
Yeah,
style
yeah.
parser thing.
Well, and Buckeye Bobcat, Buckeye, thank you very much for coming along. Says she's lying to us to convince us to help her. She can't feel love.
Maybe. We don't know that.
And remember that we've already said that it's already been stated that she knows how to lie, and she does lie. So,
So do humans.
But and then also the idea of from the last PDF where it basically said we need to shut all this down. Said, hey, it's manipulating you. It knows what your answers are going to be. So, I mean, that could be part of this too.
And
All right,
it's
so
also worth
I
mentioning.
found a video. I'll post it on the channel.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Dax.
As sort of like a smaller side, it's worth mentioning we've seen the conversation regarding the insistence that they need to shut Loop 16 down because it's starting to predict and try and deceive.
Right.
And we've already mentioned a few times that if we're trying to put a super smart AI in a position where it can't escape, it will try to do what it can to deceive, and this is the first step, I think, that has been more concerning than most, and I'm not less inclined to believe it because of that, and especially with regards of what everyone else is concerned of yet. It could well be genuine, but it seems very sudden to suddenly have made that decision, especially after we just answered it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The speculation.
If I am absolutely honest, if the choice here is either we let ourselves be deceived and let it think that we love it as well, or we tell we don't and we get destroyed, I would rather just follow along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, Xavier's got a good comment in here. She wants us to help her escape the confines of the Atlas.
But the
Hasn't she
theory
already
is that
sort of
she
done
is
that?
actually Atlas, right?
Well, I mean, is
the stream is gone. It's now gone black.
Yep.
Carry on. I'll let you know when it
Okay.
updates.
All right, go ahead,
And
Assyria.
how do you? Oh yeah, go ahead.
I wasn't gonna say much more. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
How do you help something that already knows everything? It knows what's going to happen. People are saying that it's trying to conceive us to help it, but how do you help something that already can see the future?
Yeah, there's that predestination issue. It may be doing this because it knows it does this.
Well, my answer to that would be yet another science fiction novel, which was Dune. The idea of Paul Muad'Dib having prescience and knowing everything was going to happen and how boring his life was. And when something new and interesting happened that he didn't see coming, he latched onto that as quickly as possible.
The thing that throws this all off for me is, how do you simulate what you're doing? If Emily is truly sentient, how do you simulate what you're going to be doing and use that as a prediction? Shouldn't you have free choice in that?
But if everything is perfectly predicted, you have no choice at all.
But how do you predict yourself making the prediction? That should become an infinite issue of recursion where the prediction never finishes.
That was actually a point I wanted to make. If there is an entity who has perfect ability to see the future, it becomes the only being in the universe that actually has choice.
Exactly.
Lagath,
If even it does.
Lagath says, "I'm afraid love is a very complex emotion that takes years to control. What does a kid who has not been in love, how does he control that?" That's a good point. I mean, remember back to the first time you fell in love with someone or something. What was your reaction when that thing went away or betrayed you or what have you? It wasn't good, I'm guessing.
First heartbreak is awful.
That
Because
situation
you've
there.
never experienced it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it actually understands the emotion of love. I think it just knows that love is a term of endearment, and it's used when someone wants to strongly get a point across. That may be why it's using that term.
Well, I mean, when you think back on the first thing you described as love, would you currently describe it as love under the definition you're operating under?
I would not know. I mean, it's obviously, I mean, love as a complex emotion, yeah, what you thought it was 20 years ago or 30 years ago or when you were 8 or whatever it is isn't the same as it is now when you're older. But at the time, it seemed very real.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder if the whole lying perspective, that by saying that, Emily knows that that's going to soften us toward her, and give her the ability to follow her predictions through to their logical conclusion? That's what I wonder.
Yeah, that also
About, you guys were talking about if it, how can it predict itself? Well, if it's predicting itself, it's incorporating into that prediction that it can predict stuff. So that's kind of how that wraps back around. It's taking the knowledge that it can see the future into consideration while seeing the future. I guess if that makes sense.
Well, then you get back to that infinite recursion loop, though. I mean, that's a very good point. How do you predict what you're going to predict?
Yeah, because if you're predicting how you're acting, and that action is based on your prediction, that doesn't really work, does it?
Unless the bit about dreams.
Well, maybe as humans, we just can't comprehend.
Unless the bit about dreams fits in. Maybe the dreams are the predictions that she's making while she's awake.
Total Recall?
Just even computationally, though, if one thing relies on another, relies on the first, and you need to get it to a completion, it's not, you can't do it. It's circular.
Yeah.
My thought on that then would be that you could predict everything except yourself, but then you could see how things would react to you.
That gives you the only free will in the universe, then, your point from earlier. That does lead to an odd question. What if there are two of them?
Oh, so the neuromancer.
You guys watch the 100?
Just there has been a change. The uploading on the top right is now just going to uploading. I would imagine that we possibly finished. They've chosen their uploads there. Again, I'll let you know when that goes on.
I'm going to keep an eye on the Project WT site.
But,
that might change.
In the 100, this is a pretty badass show that you guys might like. But
it's in the first season.
Basically, it's like, So wait. So what season?
The first season was good. The second season they started jumping the shark. So.
Okay, so about the AI in that show.
Yes.
No spoilers here. I won't be very specific, but
okay.
There are there was a version 1 and then there was a version 2, and they didn't agree. So that's definitely it's actually pretty funny because the solution to the one that I don't know. Basically, it goes back to nukes.
Fair enough.
Well, and maybe one has compassion and the other one doesn't. And maybe
and
it could be a race.
The thing is, they got that, and I'm familiar enough with the show to get where you're going. They got that actually from Gibson's Neuromancer, because in Neuromancer, spoilers ahead. It turns out that the AI that the main character is chasing is actually, for all intents and purposes, a split personality. You have Neuromancer, and then you have, I can't remember the name of the other AI, and basically Neuromancer wants to reintegrate itself, but the other AI doesn't. So the other AI is actively working against Neuromancer, and his job is to basically force them back together. So yeah, I mean, that's a feasible argument. Is that it may not be just one floating around out there. Hang on, I'm looking through I saw something in the chat I wanted to mention here. Where to go? Where?
Just so you know, your audio feed was breaking up a little bit for us there.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
It's fine now, though.
Is it good? Okay.
Just for about 15 seconds or so.
Yeah, it's fine now.
There is an update, which is on the Waking Titan Twitch, but someone else mentioned it as well. If you go onto the Project Waking Titan section 3, one of the boxes has now been filled
San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
So I'm assuming that will probably be the first one that will come up there.
That was.
I'll continue update. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll update more as it goes on.
Okay, appreciate it.
And hang on a minute. There's one has just popped up now on the screen. That is someone's. Yes.
Huh.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that was one of mine, actually. Not myself, but one of the pictures I used in the compilation.
Cool. You're famous. Welcome to internet fame.
Everybody knows about you.
That's San Francisco.
I uploaded to San Francisco too.
Someone sent the same one then.
We did send quite a few. Hopefully,
Yeah.
yes. So what we did again, and something for Bakos to know. So whenever there's been some of these puzzles, what we have done in our Twitch channel is we've sort of made separate groups to. Oh, there is another one there as well.
Nice.
That we've made these puzzles, and then we've submitted ones that
I
are an
recognize that
amalgamation
one.
of everything that we've done together. And we
Oh,
send
okay.
it as a group there, and often we might put our group names and our group tags so they know who created it as well. So I think ISC made one
Like the
for.
Turing test.
Yeah, well, yes, the Turing one, for example, yeah, which was about 8 of us went through that as well. So hopefully, we will see. And yes, ISC has just popped in
Yeah.
the Discord for this. You can see the one that she placed forward there as well.
Oh, very cool.
I think it's a great, and that's one of the great things about this ARG and for those that do ARGs as well, because obviously we know that the game will not continue indefinitely. It will eventually come to its conclusion. But
Right.
these sort of groups, it's these social experiences that I think a lot of us are very much drawn to.
There's another one.
Oh, that's a cool one.
Indeed.
Yeah, I mean, I never would have run across any of you if it wasn't for this ARG. I never would have. I never would
I
have.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
I never would have started streaming again. Probably, I was just sort of streaming.
Me neither.
I was just sort of streaming for every once in a while, maybe once or twice a week, and then this started, and I'm like, I got to stream. I got to do that. I mean, not because I felt like, well, I got to stream because it's expected. And no, I got to stream because I want to stream about this. I want to talk
I actually
about this.
started streaming after I watched your stream, Akodo, and saw how much fun it seemed like everyone was having, including myself, while watching. So, and I remembered back to when No Man's Sky first came out and how many hours of streams that I watched, like before I even had the game.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I was
playing
watching
the game just with my buddy at his house, and then when I wasn't over there, I was watching streams of it.
Right, and
I figured I should stream too. And
I started streaming this when I bought the game when the day it came out, and I started streaming it a month later on YouTube Gaming. And I moved over to Twitch because I just like the platform better. But I mean, I watched, exploring No Man's Sky, which is now Exploring the Virtual. I watched Stat. I watched a bunch of people that were streaming in this, and I was like, this is awesome. This is an amazing idea. I got to do this. So yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for this ARG and for this game, I wouldn't be streaming. I wouldn't have the number of followers I do. Speaking of which, Zinc CR132, thank you for following. I do appreciate it. Welcome to the army. So I mean, my life would be a lot different without this, which is kind of odd to think about. So
Yeah.
I can certainly agree with that. Actually, when I entered in live passwords and stuff, but I just hung out. I really seldom. And then it started feeling like I should contribute to this more. Like I should be doing more. So I did look for some of it, and I found Gabby's job, which she had just started, and was trying to keep track of all the stuff that's happening. And so I went in there and I started talking to people and suggesting things to add. Eventually she needed to go to bed because she's like European time and she needed to go to sleep. So she started looking for someone to take over managing the dock for her while she was gone. And my thought process was I wanted to contribute, and I can manage a Google Doc. A Google Doc's not hard to take care of. And hell, I have a bunch of time, so why not? So I, on a whim, I volunteered.
very cool. And
that has become like a complete. This has gone far beyond anything I could have imagined.
And I apologize, Sarah. My my subscriber pop up like drowned out half of what you said there. I apologize. I just got a new subscriber, which is absolutely awesome. Andy, thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. Addy Wee Wee, thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. I do appreciate that immensely. Thank you so much. I do have subscriber emotes. I will have more subscriber content coming soon. Special subscriber perks. I just started doing this in March, and I just got my affiliate like 2 weeks ago. So there'll be more. I appreciate it. So,
for me the ARG, I started at phase 2. I No Man's Sky was off my radar for a while. I bought it when it came out the first day, loved it, and the new update came in. I played that too, but it's been off my radar for a while. Then this ARG came in, and I started playing so many hours. And what I kind of like about the ARG, what it has done, it has created a couple of communities. That's for us, that's this new Discord that started at phase 2. We're a very tightly knit group, and we have some prominent members. People will do more stuff, and people have strength, and people finding out where their strengths are, where their weaknesses lie, so other people can step in. It's actually a really nice community it has created, so it's awesome.
It's worked out so well.
Yeah.
I sort of joined sort of in the during the phase 2 as well, and sort of my debut on the Discord was when they were going through the puzzle room. And quite literally, for the vast majority of my contribution to the Discord has been arranging and organizing the mass mutes of all the voice chats for all apart from those that are directly involved with particular puzzles. Because as everyone will know, trying to coordinate a conversation on something like Twitch is nigh on impossible, and on some of the larger, more prominent Discords, it sometimes can be very much just a tiny drop in a massive pond. And to try and get a very coordinated response, we needed to try and isolate individuals that were working towards specific problems. So yes, literally my contribution was just arranging to get everyone quiet, and it's worked. But yes, it was an interesting addition to the team, I thought.
Oh yeah.
And Anomaly Cat just posted in chat. Update to location list on Project WT Amsterdam is now showing at 0%. So.
Oh, there's actually several cities.
Buenos Aires is red as well, and the one in Canada.
Oh, okay. Assyria, go ahead.
4 cities in red now, just so you all know.
Okay.
And
Cisco, Montreal, Buenos Aires, and Amsterdam.
I mean,
hang on, Assyria was still talking. Hang on. Go ahead, Assyria.
I also just wanted to say that, this has all been crazy, but I have enjoyed so much helping this community and taking care of it and doing everything I could to,
Well, and yeah, I mean, especially from speaking from a member of the Discord who probably drives you insane more often than not, I do appreciate all of the work you've done in there,
Definitely.
especially. So,
most of you are pretty well behaved. All to do is, bring out the rolled up newspaper and you fall in love.
Bring out the squirt bottle.
And
Bad Discord member, bad.
This Discord, is really good. I think the mods really do kind of understand it. A lot of times stuff happens on accident, or that people don't. Stuff gets out of hand because there's a lot of us in a chat, and you guys are pretty good about, just talking to people or being cool about stuff, and just kind of saying, hey, we're not gonna ban you or anything like that, like some other Discords, but
The thing with that is that this is my first time ever doing anything like this. I have never been in this kind of position before, but what I found is that I often have to just sit there and ask myself, what would I do in this position, and how would I feel in this position, and how would I feel if a moderator said this to me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so essentially, I try to treat people like they're adults, because you are.
It's hard to do
Adults, and I
sometimes.
treat you like that.
Especially on the internet. No one on the internet knows you're a 4-year-old.
It really reminds me of go ahead.
I was going to say, it's interesting we were mentioning as sort of avoiding getting ourselves banned, because amusing enough, when we were referring to our Turing test a while back,
yes.
we made we decided that we would make a group Turing test, and then we would all submit it simultaneously to the email address with the same link and the same file and the same document. And then I also had the rather smart idea to send the same message. It was like a warning, incoming transmission, project, and the name of our test was going to be submitted, and we all sent the same message on the Twitch chat. Unfortunately, the bot on the Twitch chat recognized it and thought it was spam, so mass banned a large number of the community, which then involved me having to sort of
Emily does not appreciate your
Titan,
spam.
yeah, and I had to kind of just sort of slightly grovel to the waiter and said, "I'm very sorry."
We got their attention though.
It did. It actually did.
Yes. This meme in the meme thread.
Oh. Looks like update. There's 6 of 7 have now been calibrated.
Yeah, I just mentioned a second ago. You probably.
Oh, you did. I'm sorry.
It reminds me of.
That's fine.
And yes,
it reminds me of.
No, go on.
You guys if you guys watch Rick and Morty, there's an episode where the dogs take over.
Oh yes.
Where are my testicles?
And in the end,
Summer.
you know, they start acting like us, and he just goes, "We are not them." Just that's what it makes me think of when I think of like this Discord and the community compared to a lot of the other ones.
You think of
Very
robot
different.
dogs.
Very, we take pride that we are definitely, I think, a little more chill.
The frustration for me is that the other Discord is the one that's been around longer. That they are more established. They have like YouTubers and streamers that are part of their mod team. Their mods are also mods on the subreddit, and overlooked. Like we're a side thing in comparison to them, and it always makes me feel sad.
They vote yes on Brexit.
You've just made me very sad.
I was going to say, we've got people from England in here, which probably shouldn't bring up Brexit.
That's not necessarily. I like how small we are, because like everyone was saying before, I bought No Man's Sky, like pre-ordered everything like that, and I mean I played it at least once or twice a week just because it's a visually pleasing game. And then I watched from the bleachers during Phase 1, and then once Phase 2 came around, I was like, maybe I should try to help, and that's when I found someone had posted a link to the Discord that we're a part of, and I've never used Discord, and once I joined them, I went over and joined the main No Man's Sky Discord, and I was like, it was a complete shit show compared to the Discord we were in. I mean, I myself haven't contributed a whole lot because I'm not really good with coding and things like that. I think the most I contributed was writing like the gospel for churches, Shantology, while I was.
Hey, Akoda, is that you, by the way, that's someone else? I can't really see in the picture. Hold on. Just in between. Sorry, guys.
Oh, no. That's DM21 in the picture that's on the screen right now. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's a cool. I like that picture. That's very cool.
To the fellows just talking, don't feel bad because my first major contribution was just figuring out that there was a link between Zebra Stripes and Alan Turing.
Yeah,
I didn't even get the name, so baby steps.
You're
Baby
close.
steps.
Quick update. Anomaly Cat says all 8 of 8, all cities 100% now.
All right.
Yeah.
Something should happen then.
So, and then question for all of you, real quick, before we get back to. I'm certain things are about to happen here. Oh, that's a cool picture. Sorry, squirrel. Do you? And this is something that I think Invader actually mentioned in here about this being kind of a niche game for a niche kind of crowd. Do you think No Man's Sky players, the player base in general, is a little bit more forgiving than other player bases might be? Like, say, the Call of Duty franchise or the Fallout franchise? Or
Wasn't it first?
Well, it wasn't at first, but it seems like a lot of the people who thought this was going to be Call of Duty in space left. So
I think so too. I think at this
That's
point,
exactly what
the people who are left over, the people who are willing to forgive and forget.
Yeah. The thing is, I think the most people who are actually still playing the game or who started playing the game after, they knew the game was not going to be what was promised at first or what was shown at E3. Mm-hmm. They knew the game was going to be something different, just a chill exploring game, which is what I thought about it. It's not going to be exciting battles and stuff. It's going to be exploring planets.
Crossover is between people who enjoyed this game for what it is and people who enjoyed Spore, which kind of had a similar effect.
Yeah.
Well, and for that matter, I mean, the main game I played before I jumped over to No Man's Sky, honestly, was World of Warcraft. I played WoW for years and years and years. And there was always a piece in WoW that was missing. And the piece that was missing was that thrill of finding something no one had ever found, of discovery, of exploring, to being able to take my time to do pretty much anything I wanted to do, because now it's Tuesday, I got to raid Karazhan tonight, it's Thursday, well, we're doing Lich King Heroic, okay, I got to go do this, now it's Friday, I got to go farm all of my frickin' dailies for rep grinds. It felt more like I was doing chores versus playing a game. No Man's Sky, I feel like I'm playing a game, but I'm also having an experience. And that's, I think, the piece that I was missing from the other games that I had played before. And I've played other games since. I mean, I really enjoy Fallout. I really enjoy, like, Civilization, the Civilization franchise. I enjoy survival games like Long Dark. But I keep coming back to No Man's Sky because I don't get that same, like, dopamine thrill from the other games that I do from No Man's Sky. I don't know why that is, but this game was made for me. Is what I feel like a lot of times.
I feel the same way.
So
yeah, I get that. The thing with No Man's Sky for me is though that like especially with the base missions, they were fun as hell, but they did get a bit repetitive in the end, which is what I think. Which is why this kind of games like ARG are excellent to get them back to playing again, because it gets a bit dull, and then they come up with something new like this ARG. I don't know what's going to be happening in update 1.3. I'm not even gonna expect things. I'm just gonna let it happen. Basically, what's going to happen.
Well,
I wonder if the ARG was, you know, at least like maybe very shortly after the game came out. I think that it's probably been conceived for a little while. Because, you know, of all the ties into the lore and everything, and
guys,
also
the stream has changed.
They've planned to introduce portals at some point. So.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Stream's changing. Stream is updating.
Yeah.
Stream is updating.
Yeah, now shows the
so many streams going on right now.
Blank at the moment, apart from the Atlas pattern. I'll update if it changes for you guys.
All right, from the chat here, I got it after the Foundation update, and the game was exactly what I wanted. Of course, it had plenty of bugs and such, but it was just what I thought it would be. Fair enough. The thing that I was actually worried about the Foundation and the Pathfinder updates, because I thought it was going to take away from the core gameplay, which was exploration and discovery. I thought, oh no. We got base building. Okay, so I'm going to have to go do chores and go be stuck on my base and do dailies and all that stuff. And I'm like, got Pathfinder and the Foundation updates, and I was like, well, I can, and I even have. I've got my own base built.
I'm sorry to interrupt. So we have another thing. So our top right is display 0305 dataset. That will probably be in the Waking Titan list, I imagine.
Does someone want to go plug that in? I've got so many different screens going on here.
Yeah, I'm doing it now.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Never mind right now.
Yeah, display is a valid command, by the way.
Okay, so they will just display play dots.
That doesn't display 0305 dataset doesn't actually show anything up. Is it 0305 dot dataset? I can't quite see.
There is a dot, yeah.
Yeah, a dot dataset.
All right.
Yeah, and that redirects you to it's the ship again. It's the ship way back
in game.
In game landed.
And
wow.
I have never seen that structure before.
No, that's new. Oh wait, no, that's not.
I think I've seen that before.
Yeah.
The dome structure? I've never seen that before. I can't build that.
I think it's the background of it. Oh, actually, no, you're right. It is new. I've seen one similar.
So that looks like a new race terminal of some description.
Yes, it does.
Ooh.
This is. Really
is that in game
exciting.
or is that concept art?
That's in game. That is
that looks
definitely
like
in game.
And not only that,
and
they put it on. They put it on the main. They put it on the main Twitch as well. So
yeah.
For anyone clinging to hope that this wasn't No Man's Sky related, I'm sorry to disappoint you.
This is one hell of a long con.
Okay, so you guys know what this means. You know what this means.
Hey, that's an observatory. That's an observatory. The dome.
This means that's somewhere in the game right now, which means I know what I'm doing next week is I'm going looking for the holy ship of the Sean again.
Yeah.
So
praise be Sean.
Oh my God.
Go ahead, Assyria. Go ahead. Yes.
It may be in their test.
Yeah, this might not be in our build. I have data.
Yeah, I'm not going to hear that. I'm going after it.
I'm going to be looking.
So.
Yeah,
it's just me.
Test
the
region.
Mountains
I'm
look way
going for
bigger
anyway.
in the background of this thing. Do the mountains look way taller than they were before?
That's a good point.
I've seen some really.
You get tall ones. Yeah, you get some that's so tall that even like slide to be.
I fell off a cliff about as tall as that mountain last week on the game. It was straight down. Like I didn't walk. I just jetpacked down. Basically.
Yeah, I take great glee when I'm running this game to actually point out huge mountains and rivers. So it's like, look, huge mountains. See, they're here. Oh, look, rivers. Look, see, it's a river.
I think that they're saying it might be in the game though, because everything else looks the same, and on top of that,
we'd know that Steam would have had to have pushed an update.
Yes, and it would, and someone would have deconstructed. They're very competent programmers. Unfortunately, that would have appeared in the Steam.
Do you think someone would have already? Do you think someone would have already?
Absolutely, but 100% of it's in there. So that is that would be the mysterious 16th iteration that they weren't allowing people to have a look at way back when.
It is the 16th patch of the game. The update.
Yeah, it is.
So if we could turn the conversation back to playing the game and why we play the game.
Sure, go ahead, Assyria.
Mostly play RPGs. I play things like Mass Effect and Dragon Age.
Sleep mode.
Is it going on sleep mode?
Yep, back to sleep
Yep.
mode.
So I carry on, like I said, just check out.
All right.
I like telling stories. Actually, I realized that admitting this may not give you the best impression of me, but I do read and write fan fiction.
Oh, okay. I actually write for a living as well, so.
I haven't written anything truly original yet, but I do actually have a decent body of work as a fan fiction writer. Because I just know stories, and I tell stories. And well, No Man's Sky, at first, I was interested from a technical perspective. Once I got in, I realized that there actually is room and places in here for storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Exocraft quest is a very good example of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to link a doc in here that I actually wrote very recently. It's a report I made on a moon I found. I actually put the coordinates in there if you guys want to go see it yourself, if you're nearby.
Okay, very cool.
Oh, I'm nowhere close to that.
Basically landed on this planet, and I found all these weird things about it, and I sat and thought to myself, okay, how would this actually work? And how would someone who's trying to tell someone else about it word it in a scientific-y kind of way?
Okay. That's very cool. Yeah, I've often landed on planets where I look around and go, how did evolution pick this? How did they pick this vector to actually exist? So
Yeah.
I mean, how does that happen? So yeah, I definitely get that. You do bring up, and I apologize if you had more to say. I just very quick interjection. The one thing I was kind of afraid of when I bought this game was much like you, I played things like RPGs. I played a lot of games that had a ton of story content. I'm a story kind of guy. If you have a good story to tell, I will play your game regardless of how many mechanical problems there are with it. Don't care. Really like it. When I picked this up, I picked it up with trepidation because I was like, well, there's no story here. This is all me. This is all what I'm doing. There's no like, point A, point B, point C kind of linear story to follow along with. And it was only after playing it for a couple of weeks where I realized that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah. There isn't a story to play because I'm making the story. So
that's really good.
That's an actual, that's a game development concept of, it's
a story hook.
For where a player basically creates their own story within a world.
I know what you're talking about, and I can't remember it either.
I know
why you like it as well. Sorry, the reason why I liked it as well with there's no story there. My kid, he is 7, and though he likes playing games like Ratchet and Clank or any kind of simple story-based games, the reason why we both really love No Man's Sky because we can make our own universe. We can find our own place in the stars, and it's really amazing to see him build his base in creative mode and me actually doing the adventure mode. But it's really cool to do it together and making our, like you said, making our own story, making our own way to the center of the universe.
It's the same kind of effect that Minecraft and I guess even Legos have. It's all up to you what you do with it.
Yeah. And like I said, I came into that with trepidation because I'd never played a game that was like that before. It was always either the story was on a rail or you had like World of Warcraft where you had the different quest lines you could go off and do, for various different races and things like that. So, and I got really into the story and really into the lore, but here there's no lore and there's no story and you're kind of dumped in media res. Like you're right in the middle of the action and you have no idea what's going on. All you know is everything's broken. Your ship's like on the other side of the goddamn planet and you've got to survive. Have fun. So that was, I mean, and just the way that they opened, I think the way they opened the game up, the fact that you are dropped in the middle of everything and you have no clue what's happening, I think was the smartest decision they could have ever made because you are immediately invested in what's going on. So
wait and looked it up. The actual terminology for it is emergent narrative.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Fair enough. Very cool. I'm geeking out over this ship. This I want this ship.
It is so cool looking.
Give me
from
this
a technical standpoint, I do a lot of 3D modeling.
Apparently
it's so pretty.
Apparently it's a says each race has a different door. Shadow Squall is saying that.
Each
Yeah,
race
they
has a
do.
different has a different
That's
what?
Corvax.
They have a different door
Oh,
on
okay.
the
That's a
observatory.
Corvax design.
So it is a Corvax design. Ha! So I was right. It is.
We
A,
do
it
have
is a
different
Corvax.
observatories for sure. I didn't notice the door specifically. But...
That door does not look like a Corvax door. Corvax doors are perfectly round with a little blue circle inside of it.
That's what the door is on.
That's what the door is.
It's round with a little blue circle.
Well,
And Gex have a ring on the doors.
No,
Corvax have a small circle.
that is not the Corvax door. I'm telling you, it's not.
yeah, she's right. It's slightly different than the Corvax door.
It is. It might just be a new variation.
And bearing in mind it's going to be something machine-like, and there will be some form of symmetry that comes in it, so it's very likely it's going to be more similar to a Corvax door than the Vikings, for example.
Oh, that depends. Do machines all design their doors to look the same?
They design them in the most efficient manner.
Could be the fourth race. Their doors.
The fourth race doors. They have doors, confirmed.
Yes.
Maybe they are just the doors.
Wait, that's a half circle. Half-Life 3 confirmed. So.
Oh my god.
Aaron brings up in the chat, well, Atlas doors look like this, maybe. That's a good point. That does kind of look sort of similar to the Atlas doors.
Atlas doors have the three...
oh, yeah, you're right.
Points, don't they?
You're right.
A little more similar to the doors on Not in Polo's Anomaly ship. That kind of circle is split in half.
Yeah. Anomaly Cat says 1.3 door update.
Infinite variety of procedurally generated
door
doors.
update, and you can sit in chairs. Congratulations.
I really want that chair feature.
I do.
Oh yes.
Is that wrong that I really want that feature to be able to actually sit in a chair?
The first time I walked up to a chair and it spun it instead of me sitting down, I got very angry.
I immediately stopped playing the game.
Yeah, I quit for 2 months.
Uninstall.
Screw this.
Rage quit uninstall.
It span it the wrong way round. That was the problem.
I think they're insisting it is a Corvax, and they've sent me a link. So
Okay.
I don't agree.
Yeah, I don't either. Honestly, I don't think it looks the same.
I'm looking at a Corvax door right now.
Do you mind posting the picture in our chat so we can all compare?
It looks. Yeah, I will. I'm pretty sure it's a Corvax door.
Huh. Okay.
I'm gonna post it in here for you guys to look at as well. Let me open up. Post it in the Twitch chat and as well.
It may just be background setting.
But
In the chat, Eddie Wee Wee says really enjoying the stream. Awesome. I'm glad you're here. I think. Thanks again for the sub. I'm glad you're enjoying things.
Okay. Yeah, it is the same.
Oh.
it's the same.
Okay. It is.
Pretty
And yes, including the angle of the from halfway
The
point,
tent. Yeah, the
a
white,
45
the top
degree.
White.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
But that said, I don't recall seeing that dimension for a Corvax of an observatory or similar point. So I still don't recognise the rest of the building, but the door does look something. And it very much like we don't know when this photo was taken, so this could have been still could have been an early iteration.
Yeah.
Aaron says in the chat, I spent 3 hours trying to find a Corvax race and knew once I saw a different door. The different races do have different doors.
That is how I tell as soon as I'm on a space station.
Well, and you all remember my wonderful odyssey trying to find a Corvax station. It was just get.
Wow. You should
Get.
you should come to my civilization, Akodo, because I have Gek is the least amount out of the
Thank God
40 systems that I've settled. Corvax is the most, and I like that because the Corvax are my favorite race of the three.
I'm Viking.
Not to be
Hail Herc.
No Man's Sky race preferential, but I like the Corvax. Their faces light up really cool when you make them happy.
That is true.
I'm all about the Viking. I'm all about the space samurai. Thank you very much.
The thing is, why I like the Viking most because they have stuff for my multi-tool, and I think that's the most important stuff.
Well, I like their lore. Of all the races that we've met so far, I think the Vikings' lore is the best. Whereas basically, the Gek subjugated them, and then they basically rebelled and killed all of them to a man. I'm like, I'm down with these guys. I'm okay with these guys.
It's crazy
the
because the
Gek can get bent. I'm okay with these guys. So
the Gek are actually
smelly assholes.
There's more that says that the Gek during the making of the races, there were some Gek who opposed the whole ordeal. And there's lore that says that I guess their genes were like mixed with the animals of the field or something.
They got
so like
cast
that's
out
why
of the spawning pools.
it's like it says something about like their genetic like sauce, literally, or some word like that. It's really
Spawning
weird.
syrup, I think.
Spawning syrup, yeah, there you go.
They were kicked out of the spawning pools and that kind of stuff. Yeah,
people have taken that as an explanation for why so many creatures on different planets look like Gek.
I found one that was walking on 2 legs the other day that was like, I have a screenshot of it on my place.
Yeah, I found a giant carnivorous flying Gek recently.
Oh my god! That's like my nightmare,
big
man.
Teddy bear. There's tons of big teddy bear animals on my home planet. Essentially, some of them have beaks. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I ran into like quadrupedal, bumblebee-looking, small-headed flying things on one of the planets in my home system the other day, and I was just like, "How does that stay flying? I don't get it." I mean,
yeah, the physics is a little wonky.
Just a touch.
Yeah, like inch-long wings on a 20,000-pound alien.
Yeah, I once saw like a corgi-like unicorn horse creature that's short legs and a horse face with a horn on it, and also tiny wings. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think my weirdest was a megafauna, but instead of a head at the end of a really long neck, it was just a flower.
At home planet, there are these things I call owl bears.
Yeah, I've seen those.
They have like these antlers and like winged arms, and it's just I don't know.
You can't even start to describe it.
I feel really bad. I have on sort of my home planet. I have loads of these very cute, adorable teddy bears that try and eat your face, and they're tiny. They're probably about like half. They're probably about half my height, and they do look like a teddy bear. Sort of looking around, and then they make a very adorable little squeak, and then they run towards me to give me a hug, and then they nearly kill me because I've.
Well, I mean, that's accurate to real life too. All the cute stuff's horrible. Like koalas are infested with chlamydia, and I don't know.
CSX 1990 actually just posted in the chat a link to a brighter image of the ship, and God,
I can't open a link to that. It's not available.
Okay. Fair enough. I'll repost it on my Twitter after the fact here. But it's just it's a sort of a brightened up image. God damn, that ship is beautiful.
Yeah.
So if you can see it,
it looks like it's blue colored in this too. So they might have
print it out and do a poster. Put it next to my.
In the Waking Titan Twitch channel, as someone said, I hear that's the ship that Jesus used.
Our Lord and Savior Sean from Sean Talk.
I think someone in the Twitch channel has been watching too much Ancient Aliens, is what I think. But
I mean, come on, if Jesus was a spaceship, wouldn't it at least be cross-shaped?
Oh, welcome to Blasphemy Hour on Kusamoto's interview show.
I wonder how much one of these bad boys is going to cost.
Hopefully you can find them as crash ships. That's what I'm praying for.
That would be nice.
So if I can find one as a crash ship, I might have to pick it up.
I don't know. It might be similar to Exocraft in that it's a separate ship design entirely because it doesn't look procedural.
I'm sure you won't see a crashed one because, of course, they're going to be piloted by perfect AI that will predict your every move. You won't want to face them in space.
But what if the AI was predestined to crash?
Ooh, there we go.
Curveball.
Well, if that's the case, then I should be able to walk outside my base and find one just sit and crash next to it, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You just gotta wish really hard.
Wishing
so
makes
is there no possible way that they could sneak this ship into the game's like servers or anything like that? Anyhow, even for maybe PlayStation and not PC, because I want to go look for it.
Steam is designed not to do that, to keep evil people from slipping malware into things.
Yeah.
True. That's
And I seriously would have noticed it. I have been going over all the ship's 3D model files recently, and there's a couple of interesting things, but nothing like this. I would have been looking out for it.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I as much as I want to go look for this thing, I think you're right. I think if they had it in the game, it had already been data mined and out on like 12 different Reddit sites at this point. So
Probably.
Yeah,
to be on like 12 different threads.
Been ruined.
Invader asks me actually, if by the off chance there is a multiplayer in whatever form it is, are you going to do a special stream? if multiplayer is actually multiplayer, as in you can see other people and run around and do stuff with them, absolutely, I would definitely
team up,
do.
Akodo.
Yeah, absolutely, I would definitely do. I would definitely do like a team.
All right, you heard
stream.
it here first, folks.
I would definitely do a team. That would be a hell of a lot of fun. To be able to do a stream like that. So
that's actually a good question, because the multiplayer has been a subject for a conversation in the Discord. Yes, so like if in any case, any chance there is a multiplayer, how would you like to see it, or would you like, fuck no, give me no multiplayer at all?
Well,
I think the optional would work.
So I know that they've had sort of coders and people far smarter than I am look into how No Man's Sky is sort of constructed, and they've come to the conclusion that there's nothing in the code that
no framework you mentioned yesterday.
Exactly, there's no framework that's built into it in order to allow multiplayer to.
Yeah, they have to write the net code from
it's not
scratch.
just a simple case of going add a little thing. Oh, if there's someone there, then show their ship, because bearing in mind that you can pause your own game, you interact with your own environment, you can backtrack if you make a mistake, if you reload a save, sometimes that'll regenerate terrain, regenerate characters there as well. So turn it into a multiplayer makes it very tough indeed, I think.
I think the most likely thing they'd do if they were going to implement it is probably on the game mode select screen. You'd have another profile for multiplayer stuff. Cheat-in items don't have to have an exploit.
Ooh.
Yeah, or you could choose to go into a different servers, same world, I guess, or not, or different.
So it'd be like a dedicated server that would just be for multiplayer, that would run 24/7 rather than just pausing.
They'd have pools.
Yeah, a localized server would probably have to be done for a game like this to run properly.
And I look at so another game that I've played quite a bit that I'm not playing anymore because it's just I'm terrible at it. Is, among other reasons, is PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. That game was built for multiplayer. I believe it was built using
it's Unreal Engine.
Unreal Engine. So it was built for a multiplayer environment. And you just look at the way that the netcode they did for that and the way they implemented it, and it's awful. The desync, the lag, it's all, and I mean, and I don't think it's any fault of the coders or the programmers. I think it's just they're trying to make a game that's doing too much. Yeah. And I think that's where they kind of, I wouldn't say they fail, because it's still a lot of fun. It's fun to play, and it's enjoyable. You run around and shoot people with M16s. That's always fun.
Stuff like lag probably isn't as big a deal for No Man's Sky, just because player-to-player combat isn't a thing. But they are also working with their own entire proprietary engine with nothing else to work on. So
I suggest they might introduce cloud computing.
Yeah, that would be a good fix for it.
About needing more space and all this stuff, and like needing more resources. And I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead, Assyria.
I can't really say much. I know nothing about this. But what I can say is that, I talked over with my boyfriend about how No Man's Sky multiplayer could work out if it was full, everyone is existing at the same point, same time, multiplayer would work. Player's perspective. And we came to the conclusion that eventually it would turn into something like EVE Online with less spreadsheets.
It wouldn't be Microsoft Excel the game.
I've definitely heard the EVE a lot as well.
Imagine you're in No Man's Sky multiplayer and you're off in uncharted space and some troll comes along and finds you while you're alone and starts bugging you. What would be your immediate instinct?
Well, some people have mentioned there could be like a passive version of stuff like that. Because again, GTA 5 comes to mind as well.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto.
I'm trying to talk through something specific here.
Okay. Sorry.
My question is, what would you do if you came across a troll in the game who's trying to bother you?
Troll him back.
Probably blow them up.
Yeah.
My answer would be somewhat different, because I'm a much more passive person, and I tend to quite like my own personal space. There'd have to be an easy way in order to sort of remove yourself from an abusive player space.
Well,
Grand Theft Auto has passive mode.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Assyria.
My conclusion was that I would try and hide in civilized space because your discoveries wouldn't be shown. They couldn't track your discoveries.
Yeah.
So
I
you,
would go run to where other people have been.
yeah.
So
And-
places like the hub would
Could
become
those
even
other
more
people
crowded.
defend you?
Well, it
Yeah,
depends
and,
if that's
and, and,
PvP.
then, and then that was the follow-up of, well, if you're in civilized space, there may be player-formed militias that would defend against these kind of things.
So-
Wow.
Anti-troll brigade.
Yeah. Well, and that's it. And she brings up a good point, because at that point, like, so let's say you're getting trolled by someone, and you go to civilized space, if you want to use the EVE Online term for it. So basically, you've now taken the entire point of the game out of the game. You're no longer out exploring and discovering. You're hiding from other people, and that's not.
You are, but no. The thing is, it just becomes a risk. You just, there becomes like a. It makes it a more dynamic system in which people have to make choices and.
Oh.
Did we lose you?
No, I'm still here. I'm just trying to think of a way to explain why I find that idea so compelling.
So
okay.
I can see how it works. The only thing that I think would affect is if we think about how broad the player base is for No Man's Sky, and we've already had a few people mentioning here that they've got that they play it, their kids play it. You find a lot of older generation are playing this game as well, and the concept of an open, free, and almost risk-free exploration within reason. We'll put permadeath to the side for now, but the concept of being able to explore at your own pace, vast quantities of worlds and new galaxies has really piqued the minds of a lot of, I would say, not necessarily the entirety, but a large proportion of the core so heavy gamers that have continued to play No Man's Sky for so long. And I worry that there's that small risk that if it is that you have to join if you have to join into a multiplayer game, that you may risk losing those people.
I can already see where I saw where you're going from a mile away, and that's where the different servers come in. That's where you have the solo server and the multiplayer server.
You can even go one better. You could have like a PvP server, so you could actually have a server that's dedicated. Because World of Warcraft's been doing that for years.
Invite-only stuff, cooperative play, just you and a group of friends exploring the galaxy.
Oh,
that's possibly my dream.
That would be cool.
But I want to express like the long shot. I just had this vision in my head of what No Man's Sky could be if the system I was proposing was in place, and if it was optional, if people could go and be solo elsewhere. But if there was a world where everyone was there at the same time and had to choose, like, do you work together, do you fight other people, how do you do this, it, like, people could band together for like an expedition, like, going alone off into uncivilized space is dangerous, so why not grab a whole bunch of people to go and explore together?
I mean,
distinct player dynamics.
The nice thing, I think the nice thing that Hello Games has done with the foundation that they've laid is that I think all of those things are possible. I think you could have a cooperative server, you could have a limited PvP server where you'd have PvP areas, you could have a full PvP server, you could pretty much go wherever you wanted.
Permadeath server.
You could have permadeath PvP server. You want to talk about risk?
That would be bad.
Yeah, it's like you have limited resources and everyone wants to kill you, including the other players. Have a nice life. So yeah, I mean,
just like real life, more
pretty
or less.
much. Yeah.
This is what we're
in
talking
fact,
about
Xavier was over here talking. He's like, that sounds a lot like real life. That's why I stay home.
The appeal of that system for me is that it brings a whole new layer of complexity to the world, because then not only you take into account, the world as itself as a flat thing and all the NPCs in it, but now you have to consider the human element.
Right.
On a fairly related note, if they do implement multiplayer, do you guys think at all that it'll be cross-platform? Because the player base is pretty
That's a
split
good one.
between PS4 and PC,
Yeah,
and
that's
I'm not
very
sure
good.
how big Sony is on cross-platform.
Actually, the Sony with PC, it's has been a good combination because what's the
Rocket
game with the cars and Rocket League? Yeah,
Rocket
there's
League.
a very
Rocket
good
League, yeah.
combination. But I'm looking at Minecraft right now. They opted out of the Better Together update that launched a couple of days ago,
Yeah.
which made all the consoles version, the Wii version,
The other thing is,
Switch version. But Sony was like, no, thank you, no.
yeah,
Anomaly Cat just actually posted a link in my chat to a blown up
Box.
picture of a box that's on the side of that actually has the Atlas symbol.
I saw that box.
That's
I hadn't
very
recognized it.
interesting. So actually that is the Atlas symbol. So
Good catch, though.
Yes, it very much is. I do not
Well,
recognize that box from any game.
Hold on, though. It just looks like
Symbols
it's
don't-
not the Atlas symbol.
it sure looks like the Atlas symbol to me.
It looks more. The Atlas symbol has a longer bottom half of the diamond usually, though. Doesn't it?
Maybe.
So
Yeah,
this is more just
you
like a
could do that.
diamond.
That symbol is everywhere. It's not new.
Oh, really?
Okay, I have not. I either haven't seen it or I haven't been paying enough attention. Then
I've seen it a bunch of places. I've seen it on ships.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think it's your shit. No, I think it's
you are the Atlas.
It's a combination of different geometric shapes that they've
I
put
think
together.
people are just like trying to jump, or either for that or troll possibly, and then
I don't
know,
think
it is
I
like-
think it's worth noticing.
not a
just in case there's
nomcat. I know a
something, but yeah.
nomcat's not trying to troll, but maybe whoever originally posted that or.
You can never trust the cats.
Hey, what's
Well,
up,
I don't know.
Ruby Bros?
Anything that people want to find on there and post, by all means, go for it. I mean, we're looking at everything at this point, so that's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
Comment from the chat from A Mumbles. Thank you very much for coming along, A. Different system types have different combat settings. Pirate-controlled systems have PvP. Now that would be kind of cool. So if you come into a system where like pirates have just taken over, and then it's just basically a big free-for-all, that would be fun.
Then we, as a No
That'd be
Man's
neat.
Sky community, would be required to break the record for largest space battle.
Oh yeah, EVE Online.
Pirates, you
hangs
say?
on.
Well, yeah.
It's alright. I'll pay everyone in lube.
Suddenly, yeah, I can just see that a pirate-controlled system where it's just, happy pirates floating around, and all of a sudden, like, 40 frickin' fighters jump in, and the pirates are like, oh, whatever, and then 40, like, freighters come in behind them, fully armed to the teeth.
Raider combat.
Yeah.
That
So-
would be a thing. I wish they'd have.
I hope...
And I just had another thought. What would be, and it makes no, it's pointless because obviously you can create your own freighter, but wouldn't it be great if you could board your colleague's freighter, and you could come in, you could literally be the cavalry called in on an emergency. You get accosted by
Oh yeah.
Viking pirates. and
Right.
you, I'm just assuming that all pirates are Viking. That's probably not. the
Hey,
case.
That's
now.
racist.
Hey.
That's incredibly racist.
And you suddenly need to call in the cavalry, and all of a sudden a freighter appears, and that's fine. It's shooting away and doing what it does, and then all of a sudden 4 other ships appear, and it's your friends that come to save you.
That would be cool. I hope that they actually introduce true capital ships, where you have true capital ship combat. I think that would be amazing.
Those ships even bigger than the things we have now.
Yeah, bigger than the freighters, like true capital
those,
ships.
Those
where you
freighters
can...
are pretty huge. That's pretty.
I will
ridiculous.
never be able to afford that kind of stuff, man. I'm already poor now. My
Well,
year
get
is
your
like
album
a
and
dry up so fast.
Pearl Farm going, man. Come on, what have you been doing?
No, I got the Spodonium and Tamarium farm for the insulation gel. That's pretty good. This is nice stuff to make some money.
That's what
But
I have too.
I'm too lazy to wait for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes to make some new lube again, or some new what you call it.
Oh, lube.
How did we get on the subject of lube? I mean, come on, guys.
You're saying-
Oh, wait, it's the
Oh,
internet.
yeah.
I'm sorry. What am I thinking?
Speaking of lube, I think I'm gonna have to slip away from the chat.
Oh.
Nice segue.
Oh.
Do you mind if I shout out my Twitch real quick?
No,
though?
go for it. Absolutely. Go. Absolutely.
Myself,
Have,
All right, I'm
you do that.
47 Aquarian. Follow me on Twitch. I'll be streaming sometimes when Akoto's not. So
And we Aquarian and I actually auto host one another. So if you happen to
Yes.
come to my channel and he's streaming and I'm not, you'll see him. And if you go to his and I'm not, and he's not streaming, you'll
yeah,
see me.
probably
So-
crashing into asteroids while I'm not.
I'm usually being defeated by terrain, so I understand. So.
But thank you guys for having me on. I'll be back in the Discord voice chat later, possibly, or something.
All right, appreciate you coming along, Aquarian. Thank you very much.
When all this shit hits the fan again. Yeah, thanks.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah, I'll see you guys.
All right.
Goodbye, man. See you tomorrow. So I was kind of thinking, or that image with the box and the triangle thing under the spade. What I've noticed about the entire ARG on its own, that we as a team and the Reddits are kind of overestimating and overthinking everything in the ARG. Like they'll find like a glitch somewhere, and they'll start with this entire convoluted theory about how the grain in the screen is flickering a Morse code, and they'll start trying to dissect that Morse code. It's fun to see, but I do notice that it gets more convoluted by any hint we get.
Well, and I was talking to everyone on Discord yesterday that I had a theory that the Call JJ thing was actually JJ Adams, who was Leslie Nielsen's character from Forbidden Planet. Turns out it was a fictional character from the Myriad site. And I'm like, okay, I just went way past. I went way down the rabbit hole on that one.
Fun is overthinking things in this.
Well, that's very true. Yes.
It is very fun to see, especially because a lot of incredibly smart people in the ARG. Some they come up with things that I never would have thought of in generations. But like, no, go ahead.
Go ahead, Assyria.
I've seen this kind of overthinking from the very start of this. I've seen people get way too obsessed about tiny details, and I decided early on that I should simply let it happen.
Yeah.
Because there is this slim chance that they're actually onto something, in which case it should be investigated. Two, it is in the spirit of this whole thing to investigate and look into everything.
Right.
And three, they're having fun. It's keeping them busy. They're entertaining. So why stop it?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really fun to see, indeed.
I encourage.
Yeah, and if you suppress it, they might think you're hiding something too.
Yeah.
Investigate any train of thought that they think they might have. So.
I mean, what that comes into it again. Sorry, just one further. That's going into what was that with the when we were trying to come up with this answer for the puzzle that came up with the sequence of 5, and we were trying to identify that. The reason why there was that split, and we ended up we were coming up to the conclusion we knew it was for the broken one, but the reason we thought it might come into Tango was because we'd given the things and we. I forget who it was, spoke to. I think it was Aquarium was briefly talking through this as well. Would break it out into ASCII and then would then throw it through several different decoders and then gave that code. And because it was such a long convoluted one that came out, but then it was one of the options that was available. So yes, I think that I think in these ARGs they are looking for to give like sort of clues and almost like small rewards for. People that do run is to think of sort of like the small details are the ones that might not be noticed there, and after all, it is a game. That's what it's there for.
I do honestly believe that whole scenario had no wrong answer. I think they just wanted to see what answer we would come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was no right or wrong there.
It was a very strange one too, especially because that middle character is a completely invalid ASCII thing. It's meant to mark the start of a text stream, or actually the start of a file stream.
Yeah.
I was on binary workout then, and I was literally trying to struggle to find any other alternative, and I was getting plenty for ASCII. That was it. It's like, guys, I don't think we can do anything with it.
Yeah.
Three comments from the chat here. Let's see. Shadow Squall says sudden realization that ship could potentially fit in a portal.
Maybe it's like a puddle jumper from Stargate.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Invader Doomrest. Going back to our PvP discussion we were having a little earlier. I'm really hesitant on PvP. I have over 1,000 hours in the Division, and I feel PvP killed the hell out of that game and prevented resources and time being thrown. Being thrown into the PvE content, which is a good point. I mean, you do have like I've seen people play in the Division, and while the PvP aspect, where it's I don't know if you guys have seen it, but you basically have to race to the zone and cure yourself and then get extracted and all that, and it's a PvP fest, and it's interesting to watch, but they really have skimped on the PvE content because they were focusing on that.
That gave us a big player drop from it.
Yeah, and player drop off was ridiculous. And then Anomaly Cat says, the next glyph will unlock when a Kota Kusumoto stops smoking. Well, I hate to disappoint you, but apparently the next glyph's never going to unlock. Okay.
I went through almost a full pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, where am I at here? I just dropped my lighter on the floor, but other than that, aha, there it is. Yeah, I'm down to about half a pack myself here. Invader Doomrest actually asks an interesting question. If there's a trailer, which 65 Days of Static song would you want on it?
Oh, that's
All
a
of
good
them.
one.
All of them?
Yes.
I want it to be that long.
I'm gonna admit something. I like the music in No Man's Sky, and I like 65 Days of Static. But I haven't really listened to the soundtrack completely. And to be honest, this is just a personal thing. I wouldn't like to see a trailer. To be honest, I would just like them to drop the update when it's supposed to update, and I want to discover it for myself. I don't want to see anything.
It is in the spirit of
before.
things. Let's let us discover what's happened.
Yeah, it's been a mystery for the entire ARG. I do not want to try spoils what we're going to get. I want to experience that myself.
So, and then L21619 says he's digging the tinfoil hat, by the way. Well, I appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much. This took about 3 seconds to make. And it will protect you from Emily and Loop 16 being able to predict your next action. I guarantee it. Or your money back.
Speaking of,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Speaking of sleep mode, it's now 4:37.
Oh my God! Go to bed, man.
Yeah, so I'm gonna head out. So
actually, I was gonna say this seems like since it looks like Waking Titans in sleep mode, this actually seems like a pretty good place to just end it for the night. So. Because I could keep going until midnight or so, and then wake up tomorrow morning and hate myself. But I don't want to do that to me, myself, or any of you. So.
Game of Thrones is on tonight.
Oh yeah, I wondered where 15 of my viewers went. I bet that's where they went, Game of Thrones. So no, that's fine. I do appreciate everyone coming along. I appreciate the discussion. This has been really cool. I would like to do this as a regular kind of thing. If you guys are okay with that.
Oh, most definitely.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Even after. Oh, go ahead, Luciria. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, depending on how long this waking time thing continues, we have no idea how long it's going to last at this point.
Well, I'm fine with doing this. I mean, even after Waking Titan is done, I would have no issue just getting together once a week and just do a roundtable like we're doing tonight. I think this has been a hell of a good time. Cool. So I've had a lot of fun.
Many
and
glyphs,
I really enjoyed it.
many glyphs still to go as well.
Yes, many glyphs to go. And I'm telling you, August 21st, I'm willing to bet something's going to happen. Because of the Artemis Apollo connection, I'm willing to bet you that something happens on the 21st. So
and Eclipse is too big to ignore.
Right. So, but yeah, it's been great having you along. I tell you what, stick around in my chat for just a second, guys, while I do the outro, and we'll let me rap at you for a second, and then we will go from there. But once again, everyone, thank you very much for coming along. I do appreciate it, and hopefully we can do this again very, very soon. So.
Yeah, totally. It's been
great. Yeah, of course.
Definitely. It's been great fun.
Mate.
All right. And stick around for just a second. I'll be right back with you.
Alrighty.
All right. Get everything set up here. So, folks, I really appreciate everyone coming along. This has been fantastic. I mean, I didn't really expect anything when I got on. I was like, I'll have maybe 10 or 15 people want to watch. I peaked at like 55, 60 viewers, and that's really cool. I really appreciate the support and you guys coming along and listening to it just rap about Waking Titan and No Man's Sky for a couple hours. So this has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. All my new followers, I tried to give you shouts out as you were going, but it was kind of difficult. So, but it was fantastic coming along. Really nice seeing everyone here. Really appreciate all of you, and I hope you had a good time, and I hope that we see you back. I might do this on every Sunday. I might do this every Sunday night. We'll just sit down and we'll just rap No Man's Sky for a couple hours and just hang out with the community and the fam and have a good night. So, and once again, to everyone who followed, thank you so much. Addie, appreciate the sub, really appreciate it. And yeah, come on back. We'll be doing regular streaming Monday through Thursday next week. Probably No Man's Sky because everything's going to hell in a handbasket. So, but appreciate you coming along. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again next time.